궁극의 커스텀 웰뉴라이프 프레스티지 의자와
The
함께하는
long-awaited grand final match of ASL Season 17, brought to you by Well-New-Life Ultimate Custom Prestige Gaming Chairs, is finally here.
네, 역대급 명경기들이
From the ultimately star-studded lineup of this 17th season, only two players remain in SoulKey and herO. Waiting for today's match are herO, eyeing a championship title after a perennial struggle in the ASL, and the winner of last season's SoulKey, looking to get back-to-back championship runs. Let's take a look at the journey, the process that brought the two players all the way here. herO fought his way through the round of 24 after a long while of not having to do so, facing one moment of crisis but regardless advancing in second place, and then succeeding in advancing in first place out of the round of 16. Facing Rush in the round of 8, whom he would unfortunately always succumb to in extended series, herO managed to win 3-1. Taking down Sharp in the round of 4 with a 4-1, herO advances to the grand final after 13 seasons. herO fought his way through Terrans of colossal proportions this season to make the finals. On the other hand, we have SoulKey, who, as a seeded player, started his journey in the round of 16 where he advanced with a clean record of 3 consecutive victories. In the round of 8, SoulKey met Mini, his grand final opponent of last season. Dropping the first 2 maps, SoulKey managed to once again get a reverse sweep and advanced on to the round of 4. Defeating another Protoss powerhouse in the semi-finals in Snow, SoulKey stamped his name in the grand finals once again. This season, SoulKey gets here off the back of victories against Protoss players. Up next, we have the storylines shaping up for both players should they win today, starting with herO, who, after 14 tries across the seasons, will be getting his first title, becoming the 5th Zerg champion in ASL after Effort, Queen, Lava, and SoulKey, and the 13th unique player to get an ASL title. For SoulKey, this will be his second ASL championship, becoming the 4th player to do so after Flash, Effort, and Queen. Having won last season as well, this would make SoulKey the 3rd player to get back-to-back championships, alongside Flash and Queen. Today's match, this finals, will be the second Zerg vs Zerg grand final in the ASL, with the first one being back in Season 10 between Soma and Queen, so this is going to be the first ZVZ since then. Tune in all the way to the end to see which one of our players will rise to the throne today. Throughout the history of the ASL, there's been a law that, a jinx, that whoever wins the first set takes the championship, starting with the Advanced National Star League all the way up to last season, for a total of 17 finals. This law has not been broken once, but there is talk it might get broken this time around, as both players, despite having lost the first set in extended series on the way here, managed to win their matches regardless. We will have to keep an eye on whether this jinx is broken this time. We asked the ASL players to give us their predictions on how this grand final match between SoulKey and herO might go, and the results are in for the 14 players from the round of 16, as 9 players expect herO to get his first championship here. With the results leaning in herO's favor, let's keep watching to see if the players were right. Let's also take a look at the viewers' predictions for today's match. Here are the results of a poll running on the Africa TV predictions website until 5 PM today, with 51% of fans expecting herO to win and 49% leaning towards a SoulKey victory. With how neck and neck the viewers' predictions are, today's match is surely going to be an interesting one. SoulKey and herO are waiting to take the stage here at the grand final of ASL Season 17 with Well-New-Life Ultimate Custom Prestige Gaming Chairs, and as we wonder who indeed will become the champion today, let's get this show on the road.
(4강에서) 올라가지 못한 적이 굉장히 많았거든요. 이제 더 강력해졌습니다.
약점 돌파가 너무 좋은데요. 찢어버리고 있어요.
거칠 게 없어요. 위험을 모릅니다. 7년 만에 길고 긴 결점에서 깨고 우승 트로피를 들어올릴 수 있는 그 시즌이
풀세트에서 항상 무릎을 꿇었었던
대역전극이 나왔습니다. 드디어 우승자 됩니다.
페페 승승승을 만들었습니다.
페페 승승승승으로 결승 진출.
멘탈이 철벽이에요. GG 사인을 받아내기 전까지는 절대 방심할 수 없는 2회 연속 우승에 도전한
이번에 우승을 하라고 운이 따라주는 게 아닌가?
2연속 우승에 3연속 우승까지 바라볼 생각이거든요.
ASL Season
ASL
17
Season
more
17,
colorful.
more colourful. A showcase of vibrant plays in every group.
총
As
28명의
a total of
선수가 이번
28
시즌
players tossed
도전장을
their hats in
내밀었습니다.
the ring this season.
11명의 테란,
11 Terran,
7명의
7
저그,
Zerg, and
그리고
6 Protoss
6명의
at
프로토스
the start
시작된
of the round of 24.
24강.
With no upsets and top-tier players advancing, Terran stood rimrod and formed half of the round of 16.
역대급
And a group
밸런스로
nomination
마무리된
ceremony with
초지명식.
an ultimate twist.
테란들이
As the Terrans
각주에서
started
쓰러지는
dropping out of
가운데
each group, Protoss
대부분
snatched
프로토스가
almost all of the
생존.
victories,
8강의
making up half
절반은
of the round of 8.
프로토스였습니다.
A struggle to
상대의
stand up to the
소극적인
opposing
약세,
race.
일방적인
The
다전적
dreaded extended
전적.
series.
그리고
A mirror
동족전.
and a
지난
rematch
결승
from last season's
리매치가
finals
기다리고
was
있었습니다.
what awaited. A defending champion and 3 survivors in the
디펜딩 챔피언으로
semi-finals.
채워진 4강.
With just
16강에
3 Zergs in the round of 16, withstanding attacks from the Soul Terran and Protoss, the final challenge arises, and now, in
이제
a
양극의
ceremony of
스타일로 경기를
opposites,
시작하는
a
막강한
violent clash
두
of 2
적의
Zergs,
격돌
the grand final match
결승전이
shall unfold.
펼쳐지겠습니다.
Season in,
매
season
시즌
out,
결승
stopped in his
목전에서
tracks on his
멈춰있던
way to the
4강
finals, the
리그
semi-finals
마침내
match.
13시즌 만에
Finally, after
두 번째
13
결승에
seasons, taking
진출하며
the second ever grand
ASL 첫
finals,
트로피를
playing his
노립니다.
first ASL trophy,
폭발적
a
경기력의
Zerg of
적의
explosive competitive performance, it's here.
초일전. 지난
Just like
시즌
the
역습과
reverse
함께
sweep last season, now
모든
pulling out
벽을
all the
부순
stops, standing
이제 어느
steadfast, whatever
상황에서도
may
질
come.
것까지 하는
SoulKey
철벽.
the wall, now
두 시즌
chasing
연속
after a
우승 향해
back-to-back
달립니다.
championship, the
완벽한
perfect Zerg,
적의
the Iron
철벽
Wall Zerg.
적의
It's Soul.
김민철.
ASL
Season
Season 17,
17,
the long-awaited
결승전
grand final
대결.
bout, as two
철저하게 두
ultimate Zergs
저그들이
take the stage for
결승
this
무대 대결
showdown.
펼치게 됐습니다.
herO and SoulKey
조일장 선수와
SoulKey and hero's
김민철 선수와
contest.
조일장
on
선수의
this
대회
grand final stage.
결승 무대 두
Let's talk to
선수와
them.
이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 김민철 선수는
SoulKey made the
지난
finals
시즌에도
last season.
결승,
He was the
지난
champion
시즌
last season.
우승.
But you,
하지만
herO,
조일장
throughout
선수는
those 13 seasons,
elimination.
and now the
이제
finals.
결승.
SoulKey has a
김민철은 우승 트로피 하나
championship, a
있고
championship trophy,
우승 상금 있고
championship
우승
prize
챔피언십이
money,
있고
and you,
조일장은
herO, you're a
4강
round of
리그
4 player. Look
우승
at this.
트로피
Look at the trophy.
보고 계십니까?
This is your second time
오늘
on the grand final
만약에
stage.
무너지게
Today,
되면
if you were to lose,
2연속 결승전에 올라
SoulKey gets
김민철
his second win,
선수에게
and you forfeit the trophy.
트로피와
You forfeit the prize
상금까지
money to him.
전부 다 넘겨주는 상황이 돼버렸습니다.
But
하지만
many of
많은
your peers
동료들은 조일장 선수가
predict you to
우승을
win.
차지할 거라는 예측을 해주셨거든요.
do you feel the pressure?
고연되지 않았습니까?
사실
Not really,
부담은
to be
전혀 안
honest.
되고요. 뭐 많은 선수들이
The colleagues
예측한
must have had a reason to
그만한
make
이유가
these
있다고 생각을
predictions.
해서
I'll show you why.
보여드리면 될 것 같아요.
Oh,
오,
are you not shaken?
흔들리지 않아요.
Is it the time for your
이번이
first taste of a championship?
우승.
이번이
This is it.
적기입니다.
And now SoulKey, the wall. Are you grinning?
웃어요? 아니 여기 지금
Hero
우승이
is saying this is going to be
적기라고
his
우승 트로피
first time.
뺏어간다는데
He's going to snatch the
김민철 선수는
trophy away, and
미소를
SoulKey's
짓고
smiling to
있습니다.
himself.
지난 4강 인터뷰 때
In the round of 4
우승
interview, you
거의
said
했다고
this season is as
말씀해
good as
주셨잖아요.
yours already.
오늘 옆에서
And here
앞만
today,
쳐다보고 있는
Hero
조일장
is
선수를
looking
보니까
down
어떤
on you.
생각이
What do you
드세요?
think? I am very worried.
걱정돼요.
Why?
왜요?
Worried that
빨리
this will be
끝날까?
over
빨리
so quickly.
끝날까봐.
Worried this will end quickly.
그래서 좀 걱정이
Yeah, so I'm a
되네요.
little
와!
concerned.
AS 역사상 두
But
번째
this is the
4강인데
second time you've made it through to the round of 4 in ASL. The first time was a very close 4-3, but today meeting Hero, this will be a 4-0. This will be over in 40 minutes, is what SoulKey says he's worried about. All of these people, they made the effort to come all the way here, and he's worried about sending them home just like that. Hero, what do you have to say? Right.
사실 제가
Honestly-
하려고 그랬는데
Honestly, I was about to say that, but SoulKey started throwing hands first. You know, I
일단은
too
저도
wish it would go
좀
long,
장기전을 갔으면 좋겠는데
but I'm a
이게
little
잘안 될
worried
것
because that
같아서
probably
좀
won't be the
걱정이긴
case.
합니다.
와!
SoulKey the wall is perfection, and you're saying it won't go long.
초반에 그냥 끝납니까?
You're ending it early,
그냥
just
끝나요?
like so.
오늘만큼
Perhaps this
체력이
wall will be
무너지지
torn
않을까.
down today.
고문
Hero the
철벽을
bear
찢어!
will tear down SoulKey the wall.
원 찢긴 저그!
A Zerg torn to
찢어버린
shreds.
저그! 오늘 지금
Well,
여기서의
he's
보스가
bringing
좀
the power
바뀌었는데
today.
저는 약간
Are you a little scared,
좀
SoulKey?
두렵거든요. 김민철 선수 어떠셨어요?
I think he's
긴장한
anxious.
것 같아요.
Oh,
좀 느낌이 긴장한
네.
것 같아서
is this a different hero than the one you know from?
이야기하던 그 조일장 선수
everyday
완전히
streams?
다릅니까?
느낌이 달라가지고 오늘
Yeah, a different feeling.
좀
Yeah,
마음이
it seems
편하게
anxious, so I should be able to engage with a
그럼
relaxed
우승은
mindset today.
이게 하늘에서
Is being
내려주는
able to
능력이
win
있고 타고난
championships
사람만
something you're
우승할 수 있는
born with,
거예요?
something granted by the
뭐
heavens?
열심히 하면 되는 건데.
네.
If you work hard, that
저도
should be
열심히
fine, and I'm
해가지고.
working hard.
네, 제가 근데
You know, I'm very hungry for a back-to-back championship. So I prepared well.
준비했습니다.
열심히 하면 우승을 하는데
If you work hard, you can win.
열심히
And you,
못하고 우승
hero,
못하는
you're not a
노력하는
hard-working
저그!
Zerg. You're not trying your best, so you can't win.
사실 저는
No,
열심히
I am
노력을
trying my
하는데
best, but it's just
안
not working
되더라고요.
out.
네, 뭐
But this
이번에는
time
근데
I
진짜
really,
노력을
really
열심히
worked
했어요.
hard.
저 이번에는 좀
I have some confidence.
있어서,
I will do my
네,
best so the work pays
자
off.
그렇다면 오늘 준비해온
So
대로
today,
수많은
with how you
동료들의
prepared,
예측과
with how your
연습을 통해서
colleagues
얻은 그
predicted
데이터를
this game to
통해서
go,
오늘 경기
with all the
결승 몇
stats to
대면
work with,
예상하십니까?
what score do you expect?
저는
4-3?
4대 3.
A 4-3, not an easy opponent. But with the amount of effort you put in, those 17 fruitless seasons where you didn't get to lift the trophy even once, today things will go in your favor as you lift the trophy, hero. Take a look at SoulKey and give him a piece of your mind.
뭐 서로
We
좀
both
열심히
practiced with diligence,
연습했는데
but
오늘은
today, I will win.
내가 이기도록 하겠습니다.
Now you guys can't even look at each other. Things have got serious this season. SoulKey, you're now standing in front of a grand opportunity. Here's the trophy. Before this grand final match begins today, one final word for hero. A person who's won once, does well. I will win again today and take the trophy.
가져가도록 하겠습니다.
The match between our two players, the Zerg versus Zerg match. Who will raise the trophy today? Will it be last season's champion SoulKey doing so again? Or will it be Hero, who's waited for this for such a long time? Please give a round of applause as we start the grand final match.
가겠습니다.
결승전가는 움직이 역할만 하다가 이제 결승전에 일구이대로 올라가는 겁니다.
월세 시즌 만에 결승 진출 프로토스를 결강시키고 3배 승승승승으로 다시 한번 결승 진출 김민철.
일단
For starters, making it into the finals after such a long time, after 7 years, I still can't really believe it. It could be because I've already made the finals once and won, but I'm quite composed having advanced here. But it is the finals, and I'm getting fired up. I made the round of 4 the following season, and I thought, well, as long as I do well, that should be fine. But I honestly did not expect to then lose so much. I was confident in the ZVZ against Lava, beating Rush, beating Light and advancing. I was very confident in my ZVT. But then I went on to lose to Rush again and again, and those best of 7s were really scary. I think meeting Rush was the toughest moment for me. When the bracket was drawn for this season, I even dropped my head in defeat. I was not confident, but I approached it with the mindset that it's not a best of 7, let's just try to do well, which seems to be why I won. Meeting Sharp, a best of 7 against Terran, what now? When I realized I've already shown my hand in the round of 8 ZVT, it was a bit of a headache. I took it one game at a time, and lo and behold, I won. That's why it still hasn't quite hit me somehow. I lost last season in the round of 8. And so, the qualifiers, the round of 24, let's start from the bottom, I thought. I guess it's this approach that made me get stronger. I grew a lot with those defeats, looking at how I've made it into the finals. I think the group was quite easy. You know, I was very worried. What's going to happen if I drop out going into this as the champion of the previous season? I was worried for nothing. When I was on the back foot against Mini in the round of 8, it was a really tough moment. I thought to myself, what do I do to win this now? A 9 pull? He changed his build for the third set. I prepared a 12 hatch for the third map, but I realized if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'll fall for one of Mini's builds. So I changed my own build. I think I won the round of 8 because that worked well. Meeting Snow? He's not an easy opponent, but I thought I'm probably a better player offline. I was confident. I didn't think I would be down 0-2. It was really tough to win one set. But I'm not one to go down easy. I engaged with the mindset that as long as I win the third game, it would be okay. I was so cheesed off about his Reaver usage. I didn't have anyone who does that to practice with. I was very anxious during the game. Am I losing this one, I thought? But I took it in the end. I think it's because of that one I managed to win the series. If I win this, it'll be a back-to-back championship. I think that's a much cooler title, which is why I gotta get it. And then it's time to look towards 3 in a row. Man, I'm greedy. I advanced playing solely Terran, and SoulKey only played Protoss, which is why this will be even more interesting. We have a storyline unfolding. I was hoping herO would lose. I was hoping Terrans would end up advancing. To be completely frank, this season's ZVP is much harder. It seems I'm just doing better. A meeting of 2 Zergs of different styles. I think ZVZ is herO's best matchup, but I've won more than he has, so I'm confident. Even when people said SoulKey isn't doing well in ZVZ, I still thought he was good at it. I've lost to him a lot in tournament play, so I am worried. But weirdly enough, I feel confident. As long as luck is on my side, I can win. It seems to be a clash of 2 completely different styles. There's this thing in ZVZ of compatibility between opponents. I think I'm a pretty tough opponent for herO. When a strong attacker and a strong defender meet, the defender usually comes out on top a lot. I think my style isn't compatible here, but still, I will show aggression capable of piercing through the SoulKey wall. I'll show you how a bear tears a person apart. And to these supporting fans, it's a bit embarrassing I still don't have a championship trophy. Even when my form wasn't good, they supported me and they said I can do well. So this season I want to lift the trophy and become a player to be proud of. I'm thankful to the fans for always supporting me and the colleagues who come to cheer for me. There is a prejudice that ZVZ is boring, but my ZVZ is different. I think I'll be able to show an interesting match. I will win today and get that trophy. SoulKey, you know you can't play ZVZ. I'll be winning this time. Even though I can't play ZVZ, I've beaten you.
What's up, everybody? We're finally here. This is the ASL Finals for Season 17. And it's going to be a crazy ZVZ, Artosis.
That's right, Tasteless. You guys at home may realize that we have turned into 3 handsome Korean men, and that is because the ASL Finals got moved. I actually have a family vacation that I'm on right now, so sorry about the lack of cameras, but we wanted to prioritize getting the finals out to you as quickly as we have the other episodes this season. So sorry about that. No cameras today, but it's going to be a great finals, Tastosis.
It's going to be a very special finals. Look, we're going to get to do a real deep dive into Zerg versus Zerg. Truth is, this matchup has become a really interesting one. We've seen some really dramatic changes in just the previous season of ASL. We've had games that did not come down to Mutalisk, Scourge, Zergling. We did see games where people were able to tech past that. That was wild. We've also had experimentation with long-distance mining from certain extractors at a natural expansion, for instance. In other words, making an extractor there and not making a hatchery. So I'm very curious to see what we're going to have in the matchup here today.
It definitely feels like the matchup has opened up a little bit in recent times. And I am hoping that we get some of those games. I think the games that we've had for Zerg vs. Zerg, which have been most interesting, have been ones where one player ends up having to go spores. That seems to be, right, the guy who kind of expands more quickly and the other guy has quicker mutas, and then you have to go spores, but your opponent gets to expand then. And those seem to be the really dynamic Zerg vs. Zergs where it feels like just about anything can happen.
We've got two very brainy Zerg players here today. I don't necessarily think that this ZVZ is going to come down to just control, even though I think out of all the matchups in StarCraft, this is probably the one that emphasizes control over all the other attributes a good StarCraft player can have. But I think we might have some very unusual openings here from both sides.
I hope so. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, these are two, well, I would say our two best Zergs for sure, but neither of them known just as aggressive Zergs. They're definitely players that have a mind for the later game. So I'm hoping that that kind of parlays itself into interesting Zerg vs. Zergs here in this finals.
And we could have had a very different finals, by the way, had SoulKey not managed to crush Snow. Really interesting round of 4 match there. Of course, Sharp getting to the Final Four was a big surprise as well. Of all the great players that we had here, we were a little bit, I think in some senses, even surprised he got into the round of 8, but he had a very deep run. But here we are, no Terrans or Protosses surviving. And with these two players, I don't think you could ever have a better ZVZ than this right now.
Yeah. Well, these are the two best Zergs. This is the defending ASL champion in SoulKey, and of course, herO has been the most stable player. He has the most round of 4s out of everybody, and certainly deserving to hit a championship, right? Like he's probably the player most deserving of a championship that doesn't have one yet. So I think it's a great one. And in fact, I was kind of thinking about it while I was watching the predictions of fans and what Hyung was saying and everything. And I gotta say, this is probably, in my opinion, the #1 coin flip finals we've ever had. I literally don't even have a favorite in my head.
Same. I don't come into this finals thinking that there is a clear, a clear favorite. It's going to be really, I think, a real back and forth. But, it's going to be historic whoever wins here. If SoulKey wins, he's won 2 ASLs in a row. That is huge. That would basically make him the most dominant StarCraft 1 player for a full year. And, of course, if herO wins, talk about finally getting that closure. He's had so many deep runs in ASLs. He's one of these players we've been talking about should win an ASL very soon here, but hasn't yet.
Yeah. I really do hope it's him, but also, you got to love these kind of like mini reigns of dominance that we see. I wouldn't mind seeing SoulKey win a few ASLs in a row. He really has been of that level for so long. Like, I remember even back when Flash was dominating, right? It was like only SoulKey and maybe Best could even take real games off of him on his stream, So I'm so happy to see SoulKey in this position where he may be the most dominant player in the world.
He does make it look easy. Honestly, both of these guys do. They make Zerg look so strong, so busted. It's going to be fun to see exactly how they interact with each other. And the fact that it's a best of 7 in ZVZ should be really special because there's just so much time to try to read off of each other. ZVZ, it's a little bit sharp around the edges as a matchup. You could be punished very quickly. It's one of the easiest matchups to just outright lose. But these guys, they have a lot of information on each other. There's going to be a lot of prepping and a lot of mind games we might not even be able to follow here.
Yeah, I would say likely that we're not quite able to follow because these guys, have definitely seen each other's ZVZ. They've definitely played before. And there are all sorts of little tactics and tricks that you can pull off in Zerg vs. Zerg. One that comes to mind that I'm sure that we'll end up seeing here today, SoulKey loves running 2 Lings out of his army to the side of the map and trying to find the ideal time to counterattack with them. And while that doesn't sound like a lot, 2 Zerglings can win you the game if you get a drone or 2 with them.
Oh, absolutely. You don't get a lot of units in this matchup, and so it's a little bit different than any of the other matchups in the game. You know, one thing about StarCraft, generally speaking, is you can have a whole bunch of cool interactions with a small number of units at the start, but generally speaking, we think of these bigger battles, bigger techs, the whole map being consumed and dominated. Sometimes maps even mine out, and it comes down to that last expansion. ZVZ is a very, very different beast. You know, each unit in the matchup is almost on a level of Warcraft 3 importance, if that makes sense. That, you know, you really can't, I mean, 1 or 2 drones down can cost you the game.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's a higher level of importance in Warcraft 3 because you just have such slow supplies. Like, the amount of Zerg vs. Zerg games that we have that end by 20 supply is astounding. Like, very oftentimes you'll just look at it and be like 10 drones to 9, and I'm like, ooh, I know who's going to win this one.
Yeah, it's so, you know, the early game is going to be very important. There are a lot of interesting mind games and strategies that can happen, but tactics come into an important role here as well. You know, Mutalisk Micro, once players figured out that you could actually get so abusive with Muta Micro, it opened up another tactical opportunity where Ling counterattacks can be really strong because some players end up tunnel visioning while they're microing those mutas. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have to really keep our eyes peeled on the mini-map and watch for every, you know, moment where there's an interaction or a possible surprise.
Yeah, that's for sure. Tastosis, I got to say, I already kind of mentioned that to me, this is a huge coin flip of a matchup as far as the finals go. Do you have one player that you're kind of leaning towards here in a ZVZ?
You know, if I had to lean towards one, I think SoulKey. He seems to be very comfortable, very in his element. You know, SoulKey, he's a player that he's not the first to be the best, but I think if he's given enough time, he seems to be able to fit that mold. We saw him do this in StarCraft 2. There were periods where he was basically the best Zerg in StarCraft 2. Switched back into StarCraft 1 and looked good, but you know, it took him time. And it took him time with StarCraft 2 as well. But eventually, he was able to really just start to dominate. He's also a player who's able to do a reverse sweep and a reverse comeback in tournaments before. So it's hard to see him really getting pinned down and not having some kind of an avenue where he can recover.
Yeah, he is certainly good at that, but I always kind of remember back the reason why I personally have attributed him to not having more ASL victories is his Zerg vs. Zerg, but maybe that's less on the back of how strong his Zerg vs. Zerg is and more on the back of how volatile that matchup can be. But, you know...
we've joked before that this was the big punishment for Zerg players. The race is so strong and they have so many cool things they can do, but the gamer gods damned them with this mirror matchup that is so punishing. And in some ways, you know, it's got such a high volatility.
It is kind of a wild thing when you think about it, right? Like, is Zerg vs. Zerg end so quickly because Mutas and Lings are so strong? Zerg is such a good attacking race that it can just kill itself in the mirror matchup. And then you look at the other mirrors and it's like, you know, you kind of see the real flavor of the race. Like, you know, Protoss vs. Protoss is pretty fast. And then you have Terran vs. Terran. It's like, well, no one can kill each other because of siege tanks. But Zerg vs. Zerg, they are cursed or blessed, how you may look at it with this one.
We're going to be going to Radeon here for map number 1. This is going to be herO's pick. It's going to go herO SoulKey, all the way down until, if we're lucky enough to get a game number 7 on Blitz. All right, guys, we're ready to do this. This is the ASL Finals. Which Zerg is going to take it here? Will it be herO or will it be SoulKey? We're going to start to find out right now. Okay, we've got cross spawns here. SoulKey in the bottom right, herO in the top left. We were talking a little bit before the game started about the fact that we have seen actually some changes in this matchup, and there's been 2 big ones. We've seen games that did not boil down to Scourge, Mutalisk, Zergling. in the fact that there was a way to tech past that after a very, very tumultuous game. But the one that I'm more excited about is the fact that we've seen this new technique of putting an extractor at the expansion, but there's no hatchery. So it's long-distance mining to get extra gas. And I think it's very map dependent. You know, you need to have an extractor that's at least kind of close to the hatchery, or you have to make your second hatchery on your ramp. Yeah, it's going to be cool to see if we're going to have any of that here today.
Yeah, interesting you bring that up because the player that we saw do that was actually Queen, who's a 2-time ASL champ, who they just showed on screen. The stats is #1 in ASL as far as Zerg vs. Zerg goes. #2 being Larva, #3 being herO, #4 being SoulKey, all of them above 50% win rates. Which, you know, in a matchup as punishing as this, as volatile as this, is still very, very good. But it's kind of funny to see, you know, we were talking about that earlier with ZVZ and how crazy that can be. If you look at, like, the best PvP player, the win rate is, like, in the 60s rather than 55%.
Now, I want to see if we're going to have any other changes here, any of these new styles coming out in this matchup. By the way, hatchery expansion compared to hatchery in the main. So it's going to be a slower start here for a ZVZ. You know, this matchup has been a funny one since the very beginning. People were really kind of perplexed about, you know, is it actually this limited? I'm not talking about when the game first came out. Like, do you really only go Mutalisk Zergling? There was a period of time where people were trying to experiment with 2-hatch Hydralisk or expand Hydralisk builds. I don't think we've ever seen any of them in pro matches. Or if someone knows, please let me know. I'd love to actually go look at that and just see what that actually looked like. But basically within the first 2 years of the game being out, everything kind of came down to Zergling Mutalisk. But, you know, we do see the emergence of these things like we were talking about the long-distance mining from the extractor to the natural. We've also had, in years past, ASL builds where people got the gas and really, really early. And it would look like a 9-pull opening, but in fact, they were able to bank way more gas than a normal game. So, again, I think there's still so much more potential for this matchup to show us.
I definitely do agree with you on that. It does feel like it's still not completely explored. I guess all matchups in StarCraft feel like that. There's just so much skill inherent in it. But looking at this particular game, a hatchery in the main base versus a hatchery at the natural, you have to say that this heavily favors herO, right? Like, he's going to have access to that secondary gas, yet they're going to have the same amount of larva.
Right. Yeah, I mean, having an extra base is going to be really nice. Obviously, they don't know what each other's builds are at the very beginning of the game, so there is some safety in putting a hatchery in your main. But if you have to compare these two builds right now, clearly herO, for the longer the game goes on, clearly herO should be in a better position.
Yeah, I think that that is certainly what we're looking at here, and I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do. Look at this. herO gets down, sees no natural hatchery. This might put him into a defensive stance. He might look at this and say, okay, I could be in trouble. This might be an all-in. But look at that. He puts down, they're both putting down their Spire at like the same time, but we have a Sunken that's going to be going down here for herO, which he absolutely does not need.
What do you think about the Spire placement here for herO? That's kind of interesting. I don't normally see it on the edge of creep. A lot of times, because of the shape of the Spire, it takes about the same amount of space as a Sunken Colony, or a Pylon, as an example. You'll see players tuck it behind the minerals, because it's just a little bit harder to get surrounded by Zerglings. But that one's way out there. Maybe he wants that there, so it's a little bit harder to spot with an Overlord? I'm not sure. That's
the only thing that came to my mind as well, but I'm trying to imagine a situation where an Overlord runs in. I really don't know. It's a weird one.
Yeah. Okay, so SoulKey's going to come in here with an attack. Now, herO's really well positioned. He's got a nice wall of lings. He can use the drones on the side with the minerals to also block. But SoulKey has to make this work. Oh, great block with the Evo Chamber.
Well, this is working out even better for herO now. I thought he didn't need the Sunken, but SoulKey's going to go ahead with the attack anyways. This is very much looking like a herO victory right now. That is a huge, huge hold.
Yeah, he holds it. He didn't even force out more Zerglings. He banked up all the larvae, So he's going to have the 6 Mutalisks right away. More Zerglings are going to be hatched here. So it seems like SoulKey's going to try one more time to come in here and do damage in between the period where the Mutalisks are being made here. But so far, the block for herO is looking really good.
It really is. I don't see SoulKey being able to break through that. Now, we have those spires finished up, so we should have some mutas on the way. The problem is herO has that second gas just now starting to mine. So over the course of the next minute or so, he's going to get a huge gas lead.
Yeah, the mutas are going to be able to fend this off pretty easily. And SoulKey, he's in a difficult position here. It's not over yet. The problem is that herO has 2 gases and SoulKey just has 1. And so over time, there'll be a higher number of gas accumulated for herO, which means more Mutalisks, which is basically, at this phase of the game, what it's all about.
I'm really worried for SoulKey here. This definitely looks like a position that he should end up losing from. You see herO even getting some kills on the Zerglings with his Mutalisks, which is just giving him more and more of an advantage. It doesn't seem like SoulKey has a great way in. If he wins, it either has to be very, very soon, or he's going to have to expand, and it's somehow going to have to become a longer game.
Yeah, he's trying to take out these overlords, but now I think herO can pin him. Now there's no way to go down without eating a lot of damage, so he's going to have to take this fight. He does snipe the Scourges down pretty nicely, but in this circular retreat, I just don't think there's going to be enough mutas. I think it's only 2 in total here, so he kills that off, and we may act... Yeah, there it is. We're going to see... I was going to say, we'll probably see him leave. Usually, if they lose the Mutalisk dogfight, the game is over.
Yeah. If you lose all those mutas once, unless you have a ton of spores at home, you're not going to be able to live through that, and obviously that was not the case. herO getting the better end of build orders. SoulKey's build, if herO had gone for a pool first, SoulKey would have been way ahead. So it's not like his build is terrible, it's just terrible against what herO had done there.
Yeah. Funny to see them both go for hatch first right away. You know, a lot of pool openings, pool first openings have been pretty common, but herO basically getting the better draw there as far as openings. And there's not a whole lot that herO has to do. If he goes for fast expand and it's first hatchery in main, all he has to do is basically not die at the start of the game. And also make sure he doesn't get counterattacked by mutas when he sends his mutas out. And the fact that we saw herO run up there, SoulKey run up there and start 2 hits, the overlords, I mean, then herO just goes, all right, well, that's where I'm going to go. That's where the fight will lead me to. And he won it.
Yeah. Well, good opening here for herO, the challenger in this finals. Of course, you can see an absolutely packed stadium. Everyone wanting to come down and show their support, see who the next ASL champion will end up being. And quick commercial break.
시청자 여러분 안녕하십니까. ASL 뉴스 스타를 만나다 진행을 맡은 앵커 박상현입니다.
앵커 hen경입니다.
ASL 시즌17에서 저는 상반대 2 저그가 결승전을 펼친다는 소식이 전해졌어요.
사실 4강엔 진짜 여러 번 이름을 올린 공무원이지만 13시즌 만에 결승에 올라온 저그 조일장 선수가 풀세트 끝에 항상 패배한다는 징크스가 있었던 선수인데 지난 시즌에 이거 극복하자마자 우승을 하고 그 다음에 또 결승전에 오른 김민철 선수를
맞습니다.
모셨습니다.
정말 어려운 분들을 모셨습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
네, 반갑습니다. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요.
이제 김민철 선수한테 뭐 여러 가지 소감들은 좀 뻔하니까 35살에 10살 연하와 결혼하는 게 꿈이라면서요? 그리고 올해 34살이고 내년이 이제 그 꿈을 이룰 수 있는 적기가 좀 됐습니다.
그런 얘기를 했는지는 기억이 안 나는데 근데 그거는 모든 남자들의 로망인 것 같아요.
내가 열심히 ASL에서 활약하고 우승 트로피를 들어 올려야 되는 이유 중에 하나가 사랑이 있을 수 있잖아요?
일장 형도 아마 그 생각할 거예요.
사랑이 있을 수 있죠. 근데 저는 사실 ASL과 사랑은 연관이 되지는 않는다고 생각을 해가지고 사랑은 따로 잘 해봐야죠. 예.
하지만 이제 김민철은 ASL과 사랑이 좀 연관이 된다. 방치 클럽들이 있잖아요. 그 중에 계실 수도 있다라는 거잖아요.
놀이군 있죠.
놀이군이 있어요.
예, 놀이군은 있는데
네.
근데 그게 쉽지가 않네요.
좀 어려워요.
예.
우승 차지하고 트로피 받으면 앞에 온 동료 중에 마음에 든 그 바로 고백.
되게 싫어할 것 같은데 여성분들이. 어때요? 제가 우승을 했어요. 이영도 아나운서한테 갑자기 고백을 했어요. 거기서.
나 좋은데? 좋아요.
다
아니 2회
보는데.
우승인데
그리고 만약에
그 큰 무대에서
맞아. 근데 싫다 그러면 미안해. 내가 3번 우승하고 올게. 미안해. 4번 우승하고 올게.
근데 이런 사람들이 이제 잘못된 게 사람 바보 만드는 거예요. 이제 저를 이제 바보 만들려고 지금 작정하셨네. 예.
직진으로 이렇게 완벽하게 뚫어내는 게 중요하다는 말씀 드리겠습니다. 그러면은 두 분이 현역 때 한 차례 만났다는 데이터가 좀 있어요.
네.
꽤 오래됐는데 기억나세요?
저는 진짜 기억이 나는 게 그때 민철이가 좀 신인이었어요. 중요한 경기였거든요. 근데 민철이한테 저희 팀이 다 쓸렸어요.
아, 올킬.
네. 그래가지고 저 친구가 좀 인상 깊었어요.
그럼 김민철 선수는 기억이 안 날 수가 없겠네요, 그때.
신인이었으니까 아직도 기억이 많이 생생하죠. 집에 가서 그거 엄청 많이 봤거든요. 마지막은 김윤환이었어요.
김문환까지.
예, 마지막에
불행.
김윤환 이제 잡고 제가 올킬을 했었던 기억이 있어요.
선수 시절에 친분이 좀 없었을 텐데 7년 전에 술자리 한 번 했다. 그때 서로 알아가게 됐다라는 스토리가 좀 있어요.
예, 현역 때는 타팀이랑 교류가 많이 없다 보니까 이제 친해질 기회가 많이 없었는데 이제 아프리카 와가지고 같이 술을 한잔 하면서 가까운 사이가 되지 않았나.
친해지고 싶긴 했어요. 일장이 형이랑. 사람이 좋잖아요. 일장이 형 방송 들어가가지고 같이 마시고 싶다고 얘기를 해서 그때 많은 얘기를 나눴던 것 같아요. 그래서 친해지게 된 게 아닌가.
또 두 선수 하면 약간 생각나는 키워드가 저는 개인적으로는 역수입이에요. 조일장 선수도 3, 4회전에서 역수입을 2번이나 했었고 진짜 명경기였거든요. 뭐 김민철 선수도 역수입하면 또 빼놓을 수 없는 선수고 그때 두 선수만의 약간 그 심리 컨트롤 하는 방법이 또 다를 것 같아요.
솔직히 멘탈이 많이 나가긴 하거든요. 근데 더 이상 약간 물러날 곳이 없다. 약간 이런 생각하면서 한 판 한 판 따다 보니까 그게 그렇게 되는 것 같아요.
저도 약간 비슷한 것 같기는 한데 이번 세트만 이기면 된다라는 생각으로 한 경기만 이기면 딱 역습할 수 있다는 생각을 항상 가지고 있거든요. 게임을 할 때. 항상 겨루고 나서 이제 끝났을 때 1, 2경기 때 잘할 걸 이런 생각도 좀 해요. 저.
항상 그러니까요. 그러니까 항상 이제 철벽이 만들어지는 과정이 뭐냐면 항상 절벽 끝에 서야 돼요. 이 절벽에서 낭떠러지 전에
그래야지만
기가 막히게
살아남을 수
부활해요.
있어.
근데 결승전 때는 좀 안 그랬으면 좋겠거든요. 저도. 네.
또 이제 초창기 때 조일장 선수가 지금 아프리카 내에서 진짜 원탑이다. 굉장히 잘한다는 그런 칭호들이 굉장히 많았었습니다만
네.
시간이 지나고 우승 트로피는 김전이 가져갔어요.
저도 민철이가 굉장히 좋아하는 동생이어가지고 우승컵 들어올릴 때 제가 직관을 갔어요. 가가지고 이제 민철이 딱 우승하는 거 보니까 멋있더라고요. 축하도 해주고 그랬었는데 그래도 뭐 동생 입장에서 좀 양보해주지 않을까 싶기도 하고. 예.
김민철 선수 표정 보니까 뭐 형이고 동생이 없는 것 같은데.
동교육이 진짜 굉장한 선수거든요, 김민철 선수가. 프로게이머 시작한 계기도 약간 같은 반 친구한테
맞아요.
져서 열받아서 시작했다고 들었거든요.
중학생 때였는데 제가 못 이기는 상대가 있었어요. 이기고 싶어가지고 계속 게임을 하다가 이겼어요. 근데 중2 때 또 못 이기는 상대가 있어요. 그래서 또 연습을 해서 이겼어요. 저는 계속 극복하는 거를 약간 좋아하나 봐요. 약간.
그래서 맞으면 맞을수록 정말 강해진 선수고요. 악재가 나오고요. 힘들리고 송파에 뭔가 폭시장 망하면요. 정말 불굴의 투지로 일어나는 선수 김민철입니다. 조일장 선수와는 느낌이 달라요. 원체 아주 강한 느낌이라면 이 스포츠계 약간 잡초 같은 느낌?
진짜 야생에서
뭔가 진짜 약간
살아남는
그 느낌이에요.
저도 민철이 게임 보면 항상 느껴요. 얘는 결국은 죽여야 된다. 안 죽이면 살아난다.
네.
저 그 느낌 많이 받거든요. 민철이 게임 보면서.
그럼 김민철 선수가 보기에 조일장 선수는 좀 어떤 저거예요?
저그의 교과서 같은 느낌이거든요. 그래서 그 교과서를 찢어야 돼요. 낙서를 하고 찢고 막 그래야 돼요.
주입식 교육이다. 교과서는 뻔하다. 그냥 써진 대로만 한다. 창의적 요리로 창의 교육이 대세인데
그런 느낌은 아니고.
창의력이 없다. 빌드 못 짠다.
그래서 이번에 한 명을 섭외했습니다. 브레인저그라고.
김윤환?
네, 한 명을.
명훈이 형이랑 이제 윤환이 형이 있었는데 제가 저저전으로 되게 많이 떨어졌었잖아요. 근데 극복하게 만들어진 계기가 명훈이 형이 약간 연습을 도와주면. 그래서 약간 저는 그 기억에 명훈이 형을 놓치고 싶지가 않았더라고요.
제가 또 명훈이 형을 저저전 최강자에서 내려보냈던 사람이거든요. 오히려 뭐 잘 된 게 아닌가. 네.
그렇죠. 그럼 오늘 인터뷰의 좀 핵심은요. 김명훈입니다.
그렇습니다.
김명훈의 운명이 어떻게 될지는 여러분들 이제 결승전에서 만나볼 수 있는 거고.
저저전 결승인 만큼
빌드 싸움이죠.
굉장히 재밌게 가위바위보 7판을 좀 해보면 어떨까요?
가위바위보 7판에서 4판 누가 먼저 이기냐. 이건 제 빌드 싸움이라 생각하고요. 심리전 상대가 어떤 빌드 할지 여기서 이제 4드론, 5드론, 9드론 막 이런 식으로 생각하면서 여러분 생각하시는 거예요.
밤 내기.
밤 내기?
내기.
오케이, 밤 내기 가자.
가위바위보. 자, 이때요. 이때요.
역시 처음에 맞고 시작하는 김민철.
가위바위보.
이래요. 또 맞고 시작하는 김민철.
가위바위보. 야, 이거 진짜 역습이다. 진짜 역습이다.
대떡입니다, 대떡이.
대떡이네. 쉽지 않은데. 자, 준비되고. 가위바위보. 와! 역습의 성공.
3대1, 3대1.
3번만 이기면 돼요.
네.
가위바위보. 오. 가위바위보. 오. 가위바위보. 오. 자, 가위바위보.
빌드가 계속 물려 지금.
가위바위보. 와, 뭐야? 가위바위보. 가위바위보. 칠꽉. 따뜻한 데에서 내가 마지막 끄는 파이널 하겠습니다. 가위바위보. 와, 이번에는 이게 역습이 깨졌습니다. 와, 자,
흥미진진한.
근데 이거 진짜 재밌었다.
끝으로 좀 어떤 결과가 좀 나왔으면 좋겠다라고 한번 해주시기 바라겠습니다. 조일장 선수부터.
너무 빨리 끝나지만 않았으면 좋겠어요. 서로 준비한 거 좀 잘 보여주고 잘 치고 받는 경기가 나왔으면 좋겠고 우승은 또 제가 할 수 있었으면 좋겠네요.
저도 근데 같은 생각이에요. 좀 재밌는 게임이 나왔으면 좋겠고 좋은 경기 했으면 좋겠어요, 저는.
오늘 스타를 만나다 투스타를 만났습니다. 어떤 결과 기다리고 있을지 여러분 함께 지켜봐 주시기 바랍니다. 미니 앵커와 함께했습니다. 여러분 고맙습니다.
고맙습니다.
I love that they're making them play rock, paper, scissors between the ZVZ finals. That's actually genius. I didn't know they were going to do that.
Spoiler
welcome back,
alert,
everybody. Thank
hero's
you.
gonna win 4-3.
We're back. We just wrapped up game one. Again, a little bit of a build order disadvantage. Both players going for fairly passive openings, but the economical one, the one that's going to, I guess, long term just lead to more gas income here if the game goes on, does end up favoring herO. Pretty straightforward game. Let's see what happens as we go into game two.
Yeah, can't wait to see if these guys stay on that type of path, right? That was just to put this out there, right? If we had to broadly categorize how they both just played, SoulKey's build was very safe and herO's build was very greedy. Are they going to stay on similar paths, or are we going to see them all over the place as far as the build order choices?
We're going to be going to Neo Dark Origin here for map number 2. Maps that only have 2 spawns do change the dynamic of ZVZ. There's a couple of tricky moves you can do that just wouldn't be possible on maps where there were 3 or even 4 spawns here. So let's see if we have any deceptive play coming up here as we go into this next match here. herO up 1 game, excuse me. SoulKey yet to get a win here. But, in a best of 7, it's really important that you don't let them get too far ahead of you. You can get to 2 to 3 wins very quickly. We're ready to get into this game, guys. This is game number 2 in this best of 7, the ASL Finals here with herO versus SoulKey. Okay, herO in the bottom, SoulKey in the top. So I was talking earlier about the fact that there are tricky plays you can do on maps like this. You can basically map out their Overlord scouting path and occasionally send out false information to that. So as an example, you could send just 2 Zerglings underneath the Overlord when in fact there are 4 more Zerglings going around it. And moments like that, players may decide that they can drone up more than they can and then get punished. I don't know if we're going to have it this game, but I definitely want to make sure everybody's at least aware that stuff like that is a possibility.
Yeah, that's kind of another thing that feels different about Zerg vs. Zerg compared to the other matchups, is that it seems to me that the more creative, interesting games are generally on 2-player maps, because there's no randomness, right, as to when or where the Overlord will scout. You have a very, very exacting idea of where it's going and where it will be at what time, and thus, like you said, right, you can feed it information or misinformation as you choose. But yeah, I feel like a lot of our more interesting games are on these smaller maps. So hoping that we get to see that here. It is going to be a quick pull from herO. What's SoulKey going to do? Is he going to try to go hatch first?
Yeah, it looks like it, Tastosis, unless we have a delayed gas and pool here. And I don't see that pool coming down just yet. He's surpassed 200. Oh, okay. I was going to say he's past 200 minerals, so he's but his pool is just a little bit late. By the way, a little subtle thing. For those of you who've been watching for a long time, you still may not know about this trick. There's a way to make your larva shoot over to the left side of the hatchery. How do you do that? Do you grab an Overlord and the larva and spam S? Is that how it's done? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you only have to hit it like 1 time, and then the larva, any larva that were selected with another unit and given stop command, always go to the left side of the hatchery right away.
So if you have minerals to your left side, you always want to do that. So just something to take note of. And in case you're wondering, wouldn't that mean it's a little bit better to be on the left side? Yeah.
Well,
it's a little bit better for sure.
You definitely get your drones to spawn over there, but the mineral boosting is actually better on the right side minerals. So I don't know where that comes as far as quality for Zerg. Yeah, like if you're playing Terran, for instance, you mine a little tiny bit more with perfect boosting on the right compared to perfect boosting on the left.
Oh, funny. And in case you guys are confused about mineral boosting, there's a way with certain patches where you can like either make them return a little bit quicker by giving them a command to return that mineral instead of sometimes they'll arc out. Hold on a second. We got a big attack coming up here. It's now 6 lings versus 6 lings. A drone in the mix actually does add a little bit of extra damage. It's funny how much that helps because the drone can fire through the Zerglings, so it can even be in the back and still deal some.
It is kind of funny that the drone has bigger range than a lot of units, but it comes down, helps out, and SoulKey actually gets the advantage. One thing to mention is that if you look at this again, herO went for an aggressive opener, right? If we're talking about broad strokes of what we're looking at, and once again, second time in a row, SoulKey goes for a safe opener with that pool before the hatchery. So I feel like actually herO's idea wasn't bad. He says, okay, well, I went greedy and he went safe and I won, so let's go aggressive. And if he goes aggressive or greedy, I'm equal or ahead only against another safe opener. Is herO behind? But now that we look at this, herO is behind in this game.
Yeah, he's got his lings at the ramp. You can see he's carefully making a wall here. It's really important you have that ling wall perfectly set up in a way where it's just a little bit too tough for SoulKey to try to get up here. And he's racing towards getting Mutalisks. Now, the Spire is started here for SoulKey. The issue is he's not going to have Mutas out before a herO.
And SoulKey is actually hiding a few lings behind. He moved a few lings out of vision. And now herO's going to see that as he starts to come forward with all of them. And SoulKey actually does slip out a little bit. Oh my gosh. A really good surface area there from SoulKey, though. herO having a hard time coming down this ramp.
Yeah, it looked like herO had it for a minute, but the pairing wasn't quite there. And so these Zerglings on the bottom are basically meant to keep these, herO Zerglings stuck in there. Spire's coming along. Now, ideally, what SoulKey wanted was to force some of those larvae into Zergling eggs instead of Mutalisk eggs, but herO didn't blink, and so the Mutas are going to be out momentarily. But it's the distance between the Spire completion times should actually allow SoulKey to get his Mutas out just in the nick of time for from herO's.
I believe you're right about that. We'll see if any Overlords get picked off. Those have started to migrate away from Mutalisk paths, so not sure if any of those will get caught. And here herO comes. He's bringing out those Mutalisks immediately, and he definitely needs to get some sort of damage done, because if he doesn't, SoulKey's just going to run away with this game with that second gas.
So, keep in mind it's speedlings versus slowlings. That's why herO was able to run through there the way that it was. herO didn't opt to beeline into SoulKey's base. Instead, he's trying to sweep the map for Overlords. He's trying to get free kills, and I think herO probably made the right call with that, since it's going to be too hard to get in there and get damage. But I don't think he found a single Overlord. I see one of SoulKey's Overlords way in the top right, and the other one far in the left.
Smart places to move them, right? You want them out of position so your opponent doesn't get them. It's really hard to move your Mutalisks into an area like that because of the possibility of counterattacks. Now, herO is coming up. He is going to go for the throat, and I think he needs to. He needs to get something done here. He's going to try to run some speedlings by, but SoulKey beautifully blocking the ramp, utilizes his Mutalisks to kill off those Zerglings, and herO has to retreat. This is looking terrible for herO.
Yeah, herO's running out of time right now. That second gas is being mined here. We see the 3 drones on it. It's a game where the Overlords being gone, the map is a dark and confusing place. It's really not clear who is where. SoulKey knows as time passes, he will accumulate more Mutalisks, and that will ultimately allow him to win the fight. herO's going to stay back, but herO needs to hatch some kind of a plan. I don't know if he's banking on maybe getting either air attack or air armor upgraded. In case you're wondering, armor is usually better than attack, and that it lets Muta versus Muta, you'll win. If one guy got attacked, the other guy got armor. But sometimes attack being a little bit cheaper is a smarter move.
Yeah, it can be. I don't know if either of them are going for an upgrade yet. It feels like they're still like on kind of the edgier seat, really going for aggression. Now we have the Mutalisks coming up. I did hear some Scourge end up hitting there. I think herO might have ended up losing one. Definitely one got hit and is really, really low on health.
So there's some more Scourge out here. SoulKey's being very patient. He doesn't have to do anything until herO tries to expand, but sometimes these fights sort of, form in their own ways. herO's trying to stay out on the map. Keep in mind, if, SoulKey were to try to move across the map fully, there's maybe ways that herO could try to run around and kill drones. The problem is this map is so narrow, it would probably also allow SoulKey to box herO into a corner and then try to crush him with a Scourge.
And in fact, look at that crazy Scourge count here from SoulKey. SoulKey coming up. That extra gas has mostly been turned into Scourge. He's doing some moving shots here. herO trying his best to micro, but you can see his mutas get absolutely dominated. And GG is called. SoulKey going to take game number 2.
2 games that ended in basically the same way. The player who was aggressive wasn't able to make anything work. The more patient player who stayed back and tried to farm out the gas from the second base got, the better air army and was able to take the game.
Yeah, if you look at, the rock, paper, scissors that exists that they were making a joke about during the commercial break, it's aggression versus greed. Like, right, aggression beats greed beats safety, and safety beats aggression. And we've seen that actually completed twice now. In game 1, herO's greed beating SoulKey's safety. In game 2, SoulKey's safety beating herO's aggression. Now, that's 2 safety games in a row from SoulKey. Is he going to stay on this path? This is kind of where the really interesting mind games continue to develop.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, herO going with that super quick 9 pool, trying to get in there and get that damage done. But yeah, very patient. SoulKey just stays back and gets that gas. With the gas, obviously you get a higher muta count, but it's the Scourge that allow you to leverage the position, because they have to try to gun down your Scourge while you're still dishing out shots from your own Mutalisks onto theirs. If they don't, the Scourge are going to connect like they did in that last game, and everything is going to die.
Yeah. So, a couple of pretty quick games. It is Zerg versus Zerg, so, kind of expected. I love this old picture of herO. Damn, he was a looker. But yeah, let's see. Looking at these 2 games, I don't feel like one player is really outdoing the others. What I want to see is who is going to be able to take a disadvantaged position and push that into a victory.
We haven't really gotten past mid-game. It's the Mutalisk climax ending the game every single time, but I would imagine as we have a couple more games here, we are going to have something that gets a little bit further along here in CVZ. We're going to be going to Apocalypse now for map number 3.
All right, so Apocalypse, it will be the 3-player map. We're going to see who's going to take the advantage. Let's do it, Tastosis. Let's get into game 3 and see what are these guys going to open up with.
Guys, game 3 starting now here. herO versus SoulKey, tied up 1-1. Let's see who takes that lead here as the ASL Season 17 Finals continues on. Okay, herO in the lower left side of the map here. SoulKey up at the top center. The Overlord scouting paths, it will be SoulKey who's actually going to be going in the wrong direction, herO in the correct direction.
Yeah, so that in and of itself, pretty good for herO, but, that doesn't really explain everything that we're going to be looking at. It really does come down so much to what their openers will be.
Yeah, you're really trying to, whenever you make the decision of where to send the Overlord, it's basically whatever could give you vision the earliest if they were there. In this case, they go towards the naturals. So, yeah, I mean, let's see if we get a game that is going to be one guy being the aggressor and the other guy not. It's funny because in game 1, they did both go for hatchery first, but hatchery in main does mean it is a type of an aggressive play. It's very focused on one base. Whereas, a hatchery expansion truly is actually you being focused on greed. You can see the larva, by the way, sliding to the left there on herO's screen a second ago. Making sure he gets those to spawn as close to the minerals as possible.
Yeah, and that is, once again, a pool first here for herO. I like herO's approach, honestly, more than I like SoulKey's approach so far, but SoulKey does go for the safety approach again. So this is looking like the same build orders that we saw in Neo Dark Origin. It's going to be the 9 pool with gas versus SoulKey going for the pool first, but this will allow him to get a secondary hatchery. And we'll see if that's going to be at the natural. Of course, just having a second hatchery is going to put him at a slight advantage here with this safety build.
This map doesn't give you a low ground to high ground ramp into your main like the previous map did. Which matters quite a bit in this matchup, because if you have a fairly large opening at the entrance, Zerglings become a lot more powerful. When you have these tiny little bottlenecked ramps, suddenly you can defend with a lot less.
Yeah, it's really hard to attack up a ramp because it's actually very, very thin. Like, if you look at the graphics of it, it's slightly smaller than the graphics that you see because the edges are, like, kind of weird and wonky to get through. So, definitely those ramps help significantly, even though it's not the high ground versus low ground attacker's advantage. That you never see that in ZVZ, really. It's such a thin line in there, it's, like, almost impossible to set up. But yeah, you know, just having that as a defensive choke is important. Now, SoulKey goes for this secondary hatchery at his natural. herO, once again, is in a position where he has to get some sort of aggression done.
So, more lings are going to be cranked out here. Layers on the way. I'm sorry, is it just 2 in gas over there for herO? Am I saying that correct?
I believe
2 in gas
for
on
both.
both sides, actually.
Yeah. Zergs have it so mapped out, man. How many resources that they really can get. You know, they know exactly which patches to put their drones on as well. And look at this from SoulKey. I really like this kind of line that he has. And in fact, 3 drones coming down as well. Maybe for mining, maybe to help on that defense. And herO going to start attacking the hatch.
Yeah, he's starting to chisel away at the hip points on that hatchery. It doesn't seem like SoulKey can find a good angle. herO's continuing to do a really good split. He's got the 4 lings that are doing damage. This hatchery almost at half HP, Artosis.
SoulKey's going to have to jump on this. I think he's trying to wait for his eggs to finish. Doesn't drill with the drones there. More lings are hatching, and he will force herO back. herO has speed. Looks like SoulKey as well. But don't forget, SoulKey has more larva. So now that that hatchery is up, he can simply make more lings than herO.
That's right. So he narrowly saves that hatchery. If the hatchery goes down, basically the game is done. The layer is slowly chugging along here. No Spire tech just yet. Meanwhile, over here for herO, his Spire's halfway done. So Mutalisks are going to be inbound here pretty soon. That Spire does start here for SoulKey. Doesn't seem like SoulKey has that much gas banked either.
No,
I guess because he only does have 2 in there. So it's going to be a little bit of a tricky mid-game here.
Yeah, SoulKey really has 2 options right now. Number 1 is to flood Zerglings and force herO to be on the defensive until SoulKey's Spire finishes. Number 2 is to get spores, right? Like those are basically the 2 big options here for SoulKey. We're going to see in a moment what it is that he's going to end up choosing. Does he flood those lings? Does he try to get an early victory here? It looks like 4 lings running back, and no, I guess he is going to do a little bit of a runaround here. herO sending 4 lings towards SoulKey's main.
SoulKey knows that if mutas are going to be inbound here, there's probably going to be not as many Zerglings. So he's got a sunken colony really well placed in between the spawning pool, the Spire, and the hatchery. The lings are going to come in here. He needs to get as many kills as possible. Anything is worth it. Drones, lings, you name it. If he can get it, it's going to be good. He's already taken out 2 drones now. He dives onto the sunken colony. Oh my god!
Oh man, very bad situation here for herO, and he's going to GG. SoulKey picks up another map win, and another map win playing the defensive strategy. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So he actually was doing a counterattack of his own. herO was hitting SoulKey as well, but it was not as much to snowball the game. Eventually, he fended off those Zerglings, and you know, one of the problems with sunken colony defense, it's a strength, but it's also a weakness, is that you put a sunk there, you can drill and you can punish lings, but it may keep the sunken colony safe, but if the control from the attacker is good enough, you will kill all the drones, and it kind of defeats the purpose. But I think it was probably the best of all possible moves for him to do, to go for the sunken colony, try to hold out for a little bit longer. But yeah, great play there from SoulKey to identify that, okay, this is probably not going to be a comfortable layer tech game for me. Let me actually take what was herO's advantage, having a Ling speed there, and let me make that a disadvantage by trying to flood him as he's going to tech into Finalists.
I gotta tell you, I'm looking at this right now. This is 3 safety openers in a row for SoulKey. At some point, are we going to see herO switch on to more greed? He won his 1 greed game, 2 aggressive games in a row didn't work, but SoulKey's basically done very similar things each game. I wonder if SoulKey switches it up into a 9 pool next to try to counter herO countering what SoulKey has done 3 games in a row.
It is funny that this has been a theme here, right? We're seeing like a lot of different types of openings, but it's always the same result. Anyways, Tastosis, I think we're going to be hopping to a break in a second here.
불 좀 켜줄래? 내 의자 좀 보게. 오늘 내 기분 컬러로 말할게. 이 의자, 내 아름다움이 다 담아질까? 하루만 네 의자에 메쉬가 되고 싶어. 알고 싶어. 너의 특별 할인가. 만들어봐. 네 의자에 꿀자세.
We are back and ready to go into Game 4 here of this CVZ Finals. Tastosis keeps seeing the player that is slightly further along in being invested in the future, taking the game.
I guess that is the case so far, right? Like, unless you get the greedier player to be rushed by like a 9 pool, then that's how it's going to end. You know, Zerg vs. Zerg is very oftentimes a rock, paper, scissors scenario. So we'll see if that continues. You know, I think that's maybe the key here in a best of 7 is if you can pick up a game where you were actually a little bit behind the beginning, it's like breaking serve in tennis. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he wasn't supposed to do that. Sick, he's ahead now.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was herO going for that 9-pull play twice. I feel like, by the way, if my memory serves me correctly, I don't feel like he 9-pulled as much as other players in ZVZ. I don't have that data in front of me.
Yeah.
But it's funny to see that he's going for that kind of approach versus SoulKey.
Yeah, that's I guess there are certainly players that 9-pull more often because it feels like out of the rock paper scissors, right? Like maybe 9-pull is rock and it has a slightly higher chance of coming back in bad situations because you have that aggressive option. But yeah, I don't think that herO or SoulKey are like super heavy 9-pullers, but obviously something that you have to be able to mix in.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how packed this is, by the way, for the ZVZ. I mean, this is a full theater. I mean, you can see there's no chairs stacked in the back. There's, you know, they're not waiting for more people to fill in. So, I mean, you know, no matter what the matchup, man, ASL Finals just sell out. And yeah, I got my fingers crossed that we get into a little bit of a more technical Muta versus Muta game.
Yeah.
You know, there's a period where it ramps up, and usually one player kills the other. And then it dramatically slows down.
Mm-hmm.
You have both players on 2 bases. They're continuing to accumulate. It's going to come down to, okay, you know, is there going to be some kind of an upgrade timing? Are we going to get a 3rd base here? Is there a possibility of the weird tech that comes as the, you know, the 2 sides are just in this arms race for Mutalisks? Something like Queens with Ensnare, something like even Defilers with, you know, Plague on the Mutas. And then will we have that kind of glorious tech out of that we've seen here before in ASL.
Yeah, it's certainly very rare, but I mean, these two players are one that could produce a game like that. I have my fingers crossed. Like, that's definitely one of my favorite games of the last few years, was that action versus effort game, right? Where they did get up into ultras and defilers and just all the other tech. It's such a rare situation. And the only 2 times since Remaster that I've seen it, both had action involved. So, I don't know. I hope these two can do it.
All right, we're going to go to the map Retro here for game number 4. Keep in mind the rush distances are extremely close. We could end up with a game where both players end up going for pool first here, whittling speed. Let's find out if that's going to be the case as game 4 has loaded up. And the what is that? The flames are on the stage. Tastosis, it means it's game time.
All right.
What are those things called?
Flames.
The thing that shoots it. Is there a term for that? The pyrotechnics are going. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. We've got herO here in the bottom left. We've got SoulKey in the top right, so it's going to be a cross-spawn game. Before we get too far along in this, guys, we just want to do a quick plug here for our Patreon. It's patreon.com/ASL English. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. There was a period, this was years ago, Africa TV decided they didn't want to invest in the English broadcast. We used to do this in the studio. It was a really sad day for us.
Yeah.
I remember us, you and me, I think we ended up going to a bar and commiserating. After we found out the news, we were so bummed out. And then we thought, well, maybe there's a way that we could still do it and just have it be community driven. And we've done it. And now because of you guys, we're able to keep doing it. I think with every season that's come out here of ASL, we've made improvements. It wasn't, a natural process for us to produce this on our own and to figure out the best way to do it. But now we get these recordings out to you within a day or two of the actual ASL days happening. And so if you want to support us in our endeavor to bring or to keep the history of StarCraft esports alive, the oldest, the original, the best esport, you can do that by going to the Patreon.
Yeah, that's patreon.com/ASL English. And thank you again so much, guys. And by the way, the one thing that we've really found out over the few years of doing this at this point is that you guys want these out as quickly as possible. And that's why this episode is like this. The finals actually got moved over a family vacation, so I'm recording from a hotel room, which is why it might sound just slightly different and you don't see us on camera today. Sorry about that, but it is what it is, and we hope that you guys do enjoy this coming out a bit quicker rather than a few days later with slightly better audio and camera.
Yeah, we've also made some adjustments to focus on speed and not over-edit things. We were getting, the graphics translated into English, but it turns out vast majority of you guys just want these games out quickly with the commentary on top of it. And so that's what we're doing. So again, guys, we appreciate the support. Consider signing up for a year. We love you. Now, into this game, we have both sides with mirrored builds here. I was kind of waiting for this to happen. I thought this could be the map where we'd actually have 9-pool speedling on both sides.
Yeah.
But instead, it's going to be hatch right away. And so this is most likely to be a long game because there's not the imbalance of one side taking the game in a very specific direction and the other side maybe being able to exploit or punish or take advantage of that somehow.
Yeah, this is kind of exciting. Just the fact that it's cross-spawn and they've both gone for like the more greedy builds. And you can see, if you just look at the top right, you can see like their minerals are lined up, their supplies are lined up, their gas is lined up within 8 gas, right? So no one has any sort of edge. And since it's completely mirrored like this, but not in an aggressive way, this gives us more opportunities for the game to get weird. Now, my guess is that this will probably turn into just like a pure, Mutalisk, mass Mutalisk type of game where someone's going to make a misstep and the other guy's going to jump on him, but there's always a chance, Tasteless, that this turns into something more.
Yeah, fingers crossed here that we're going to get a pretty drawn-out game. Notice that the Lings are going to be wrapping around the map, by the way. He's got 4 moving out here. So he wants this scouting Zergling that SoulKey has to come in and see that is what? Is that 7? Or is that 6? 7's a weird number to show, but he's got 4 hidden down there. And So the issue is, you want him to have the wrong read on what you've got. Now, sending 4 of those lings out and the rest of the lings are going to follow suit. The layers are done so the spires can start. But herO seems to think he's got an opportunity to maybe crack SoulKey open here.
Yeah, if you make too many drones, that is a situation that can occur, right? The lings get across the map so quickly, but SoulKey has made a lot of zerglings himself. As herO gets up there, realizes, oh gosh, like this might not end up working, right? Oh my god, SoulKey with a counterattack of 1 zergling gets a drone. That's kind of a big moment.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. Getting that drone kill right now, herO's really going to be feeling that. We were talking about this before the show, but in case you skipped through that, I mean, ZVZ, every unit has almost a Warcraft 3 level amount of importance on it because you just don't get that many units. So losing a few extra lings, dropping a drone is huge. By the way, the zergling count is just continuing to build up here. We have more zerglings hatching here for herO. Spires are coming along. Is there a possibility herO's going to try to attack back in?
Well, he's brought his lings home to basically chase around this 1 zergling, which does have a kill, and actually put a lot of damage on 1 drone. You can see SoulKey microing it like crazy, trying to slip it through and find a way. And look at this, a huge zergling counterattack is coming down. herO's going to have to pull the lings out of his main base to deal with this. So I don't know if he ended up getting SoulKey's zergling or not, but that might still be in there.
Okay, he's going to come over here. He's going to go right up to where the hatchery is. There's a lot of lings here. The spread from herO looks really healthy. I don't know that SoulKey can attack in here. He's going to go for it anyways. He's going to try to come through and break this. There's more and more lings streaming in here right now for SoulKey. herO doing his best to hang on. They're getting a little bit separated right now. More lings are going to hatch out. The drones have now been pulled. Was this too late, though?
This looks like herO's in a lot of trouble. Like, SoulKey just has a few more zerglings. He did end up taking that battle pretty decisively, and now going after the hatchery. This is going to force herO down the ramp. If you lose this hatchery, you lose the game. So, Muta's popping out. This is his opportunity. It looks like he will end up losing the hatchery regardless, but maybe because he's killing off all these lings with his Mutas, he can still get something done.
So it's now 1 hatchery versus 2 hatcheries here. The lings are going to come in. They're going to try to kill some workers. SoulKey also has his own Mutalisks out. He doesn't have his gas, by the way. You can see herO made his gas at his natural. SoulKey didn't. So it's not like there's a gas advantage right now, even though there's a base where a second gas could be mined.
Well, this is kind of a crazy game. Definitely SoulKey has that big edge. He's up by 4 supply right now. herO just starts the hatchery. I think he realizes that, you know, there's no way SoulKey has more gas than him necessarily, so their Mutalisk counts should be similar. So sitting at home with his Mutas in a more defensive stance is something, and should in fact be something, that herO can do right now and maybe fight this back to even.
Now let's see if he can pull it off. The extractor's done at that second base. We saw 3 drones pulled away immediately to start to soak up that extra gas. Look, herO's up against the ropes right now. Doesn't have any map vision. Obviously, SoulKey doesn't either, but he knows he's behind. Doesn't know if Muta's, like, the danger for herO right now is if he's to leave his base, there's always a chance SoulKey could come in from a certain angle and just kill all of his workers.
Yeah.
The drones are now mining. I would imagine there's an upgrade being made here inside the spire for SoulKey. I don't know if herO has quite enough. He might go for an attack and or just armor upgrade and try to take a fight there, but there are not a lot of opportunities here right now for herO.
There really are not, and I like how SoulKey's doing this, right? Like, he's built up a good amount of Mutas. herO's ready to mine that gas immediately, but I think we're going to see more Scourge probably fly over here for SoulKey, and that's going to be really hard to deal with. Going after this Overlord immediately, herO still having to sit back defensively. He's now supply blocked, making his problems even worse.
Yeah, and these Overlords on the outside, he could basically try to draw herO into a fight. Oh my god, he lost another drone.
Dude, SoulKey is so dialed in right now, just really at a huge advantage, and I think he's going to be able to finish herO off. Comes in, the Scourge mostly die. SoulKey doing some moving shots onto herO's Mutas. herO does have a lot of Mutas, but I think SoulKey is up slightly.
I think this game's about to end here. The Scourge should be connecting on those shots. Only 4 Mutas left now, 2, soon to be 0. GG. SoulKey takes down another game.
Wow, SoulKey taking a 3-1 advantage right now. Definitely that game, SoulKey made a statement with, right? But all three other games were decided by who had the better opening build order against their opponent. This game was even, and SoulKey utilized some tactics, some mind games, some good micro and decision making, and was able to pull it out.
Good call with the mass slings, you know?
Yeah.
It looked like initially the fight wasn't going to pay off, but eventually he just came in there. herO tried to hang on and basically let the mutas save the day. He also didn't pull the drones right away. He had 3 drones mining minerals. I think I'm not saying he would have held that, but it certainly would have helped in that flood of lings that was coming in that ultimately wiped out his hatchery. It's funny because, you know, it's not easy to know, should I go for the hatchery or should I try to run into the main and kill workers? And the fact that we saw SoulKey split, I think it was 4 Zerglings on the hatchery, everything else trying to dig an entrance to up the ramp and into the main, and he kind of won on both fronts. Really impressive.
Yeah, he just made a few more lings there. You saw that herO was trying to get into that gas a bit quicker. It feels after watching that game that SoulKey is just dialed in a little bit more, like a little bit better with the decision making. herO maybe getting a little bit too greedy that game. And now we're on match point. The defending champion so close to his 2nd ASL title in a row.
I think we're going to be hopping into this game too. I'm under the impression production basically does commercial breaks after games in pairs here. So, you know, we got to see if herO can kind of pull it together. No games where the Mutalisk build up, you know. Oh, never mind. We'll be right back.
불 좀 켜줄래? 내 의자 좀 보게. 오늘 내 기분? 각도로 말할게. 이 바퀴 내 무게가 다 담아줄까? 하루만 네 의자에 메시가 되고 싶어. 알고 싶어 너의 커스텀 값. 만들어봐. 네 의자에 꿀려.
Let me set the record straight for a minute. Hate, I get it, say it with them. I don't give a I'm cool with it, player, peep the fans with them. Yeah, they gon' remember mine. Yeah, you are not it already. He an outlaw getting off when he calls envy. Hit the peanut gallery, they all jelly. Yeah, they gon' remember mine. Yeah, we let them say what they gon' say about us. That ain't nothing, I ain't bothered, not a problem. Haters hate, another day in dollar. Keep your money ready, have you pay the homage. Delay the profit, we go freeway on it. Yeah, don't ruin nothing, copper. If you need reminded, holla at your Siri, ask who I'm. You can find them on the app. Yeah, they call me Peaky Blinders. You bet your bottom dollar, I'm a classic. 64 Impala, me, I been the plug. Plead the fifth when the name will get brought up. legend never die. Still with the business, you should cry, let it lie. Side 4 and 9, that's Korea suicide. Tell them one time, forever in my prime. They remember my name. Yeah. They gon' remember my. Yeah. I've been making y'all believe they remember my name. We ain't not the same, no. Real since day one, and I ain't gon' change up. Remember my name. Yeah. Now I was born of the fire, sworn to a higher code. Get light 'em up, lit, bit out the entire goal. We gon' level up, corner office the entire flow. Put the B of A on wheels, I ain't do anything on a lighter note. Yeah, hit on brass tacks, fact is kinda dope. Serving people like the Kona stove. You could call me butter, kinda feel like I've been on a roll.
We are back. We're watching this cameraman slowly creep around this trophy. Look, I'm looking at the eyes of the killer, man. I just want to see his hand come up and grab that trophy and steal it. Look, man, I got my fingers crossed that this is going to be a comeback, or it's going to be a pretty underwhelming finals here, Tastosis. I mean, right now, herO just can't make anything work.
It is true. SoulKey is definitely dominating at the moment, although, you know, there is a little bit of luck involved with the build order choices. So right now, as far as like completely even openers, SoulKey has won the only game like that. And now either herO's going to have to start getting like pretty lucky, or this is going to have to just turn into a bunch of more even games that herO outplays SoulKey on. And I don't see that happening for like the reverse sweep type situation.
It is funny how easy SoulKey makes this look. You know, it seems like he just seems to have a read on the decisions. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome, man, from Argentina.
Nice.
That's got to be a long flight to get all the way to Korea.
Oh, his arms must be tired.
Oh, Tastosis, all the original jokes tonight. I think you actually, there are no direct flights from Asia to South America.
Is
so
that
it's like
right?
a real pain to get. Yeah.
Can that be
I think
true?
you have to go through.
Huh.
It can be true. Yeah. And I think there's no direct flights from Asia to Africa.
From Asia to Africa, there's definitely direct flights from Asia to Africa. Maybe not from Korea.
No.
Asia's pretty big, buddy.
Korea,
like
right.
you could. There's definitely a flight from Dubai to Africa.
That's a sick Tastosis. Asia's pretty big. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I think from Asia to South America, I think there's not direct flights. I think you got to go through North America.
Wild.
I think. Anyways, that was my little flex, my airport knowledge flex.
Well, I know that there's no direct internet cables from Asia to South America. I know that from playing against Peruvians from Korea.
Well, that's why. See, I've got the skies covered and you've got the seas covered. That's why we work together. Wow. All right, guys, we're gonna go into this next game. Look, man, SoulKey might take it, but if he does it, it means herO's gonna start that comeback. Okay, SoulKey here in the bottom left, and herO in the top right. Cross spawns again. As this series continues on, I mean, SoulKey just looking poised to take this right now. As he's had, you know, honestly, from what my expectations were coming into this, I would say a surprisingly straightforward and easy series so far.
It does look that way, doesn't it? Yeah, it kind of does. It doesn't feel like anything was hard fought for SoulKey. He got 3 pretty easy victories, and then the one outplay by... I think he actually had 4 more Zerglings at the start of the battle, if I'm not mistaken, in that previous game. So, like, that one looked pretty easy for him as well. Maybe that's just the master making it look easy. But I don't know. I still have some faith that herO can bring this a bit closer, right? Like, you know, ZVZ is a bit unforgiving and all. And look at this. Oh, SoulKey is going to go for his first aggressive opener.
Yeah. Going for that spawning pool on 9. And, you know, it's funny. This is very in line with how SoulKey wins. He does seem to make it look easier than almost any other player in the ASL.
Yeah.
The only other person that comes to mind for that was Flash. There are some games where you're just watching Flash, you're like, God, he's like so ahead already. Like he's already made enough small decisions or picked up on a few patterns, and he's, like, you know, leagues ahead.
Yeah.
But SoulKey, it's kind of the same thing. Even in this matchup that's generally considered pretty tight, he seems to have near perfect reads on, you know, if he's going to get all in, he needs to hold it, or if it's his turn to, you know, lock in with mass lings and try to flood. And it's basically working every time. The only time it didn't pay off was a near build order loss in game 1, where it was, you know, hatch first at expansion versus hatch first in main.
Yeah. So, you know, looking at this game with the aggressive build from SoulKey and the more defensive build from herO, this is like a reverse of games 2 and 3. So absolutely, herO has that big edge. We'll see what SoulKey's able to do. If SoulKey wins it, well, I mean, if he wins this game, he's the champion. But like, if he wins this game, like the amount that he is stronger than herO's EVZ right now can't be understated, right? Like that would be amazing. And in fact,
it's so funny.
Yeah.
It would just, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to run over you there, Tastosis. It's so funny because I think everybody was in agreement that, like, no one knew who was going to take this. And as we see these games unfold, it's like, gosh, SoulKey seems to have near perfect ZVZ. In a matchup that we always thought of this as his Achilles heel, he clearly put the time in. He's clearly studied his opponent. And so here we are.
Well, we'll see if that ends up working out for him or not, right? He's actually dodged. Oh, did herO see that? I'm not entirely sure. He did see 2 more lings coming up. SoulKey ran around the lings of herO there. I think he's trying to hide the fact that he's doing a little bit of an attack. herO immediately bringing 2 drones, bringing 2 more lings out as well. Let's see if he has enough to hold on to his hatch.
Okay, he's got the 2 drones. The targeting is happening on that side of the hatchery. There's just not quite enough. Remember, speedlings beat slowlings, so it's very tough for herO in this situation. But if he can just hang on, if he can buy a little bit more time, he could be okay.
Yeah, I think herO's going to be able to hold this, honestly. Like, more lings are coming up for SoulKey. He just had, well, hold on. He actually started to route those lings a little bit, but a few more pop out for herO. And, of course, that's a much further rally distance there for SoulKey, so a bit hard. herO sneaks in with 1 Zergling like we saw SoulKey do earlier. Let's see if he can get a drone kill, though.
Yeah, the 2 drones are out there. They stayed alive. More lings are going to come up here. And it does seem like as every second passes, herO's becoming safer and safer in this game. The Spires started here for SoulKey, but again, it's 1 base versus 2 base. It looks like the layer is moments away from finishing here from herO. We see he's already set a drone aside to make the Spire. You can see that started now.
Yeah, herO does continue to hold on to everything. It looks like he has a few more lings at the moment. Going to chase SoulKey back across the map right now. And yeah, it's kind of like we were talking about before, right? Like right now, herO can either flood lings or he can go spores. Either one can be a winning position. And right now, it seems like he's flooding lings, if I'm not mistaken.
It does seem like that. Spire halfway done right now here. For herO, and I mean, he should still be able to have 3 Mutalisks come out here right now. He's going to bank that up. Again, not an easy hold here for herO, but it's doable. It's doable, but there may be too many lings here for SoulKey.
I don't know. Yeah, he's made a lot of Zerglings, and in fact, herO was droning a bit. Can SoulKey actually break through? I don't think so. Couple more lings coming from the main base for herO, and he does have a higher ling count right there. But that Spire is done for SoulKey, and he's already making Mutalisks.
Yeah. It looks like so far he's been able to hold this. herO does have ling speed, so he's able to at least keep up with these Zerglings. The lings are going to run by into the main. There's 3 here. Can he get any drones?
Oh, doesn't look like it.
No.
herO blocks absolutely everything there. Does do a counterattack, but SoulKey was waiting for this. He's setting up a sunken colony as well, drilling his drones through to try to lessen the surface area. And it looks like SoulKey will hold on against this counterattack pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, he survives. It's going to be an uncomfortable position to be in, though. You know, the sunk, it will ensure that you don't just get insta-killed by a ling counterattack, but at the same time, You really need the mutas as part of that defense. So he's going to move out. These Lings are going to try to run by again. Bear in mind as well, there is no anti-air right now for herO other than his own Mutalisks and a Scourge. This is not a game where one side has committed with an Evo chamber. And so you don't have that kind of static defense.
Another counterattack here from herO. He does end up getting a drone of SoulKey. SoulKey getting pretty low. Loses another. Loses another. Oh, man. The drone's really being reduced in number now. Very few drones remain here for SoulKey. If he's going to win, I think he has to do it right now.
He might be able to do it, though. He's got a lot of mutas. He has to win this fight over here. herO's not out of the woods just yet.
No, this is kind of crazy that SoulKey is doing this well considering, but he has nothing left at home. If herO can just finish off these mutas, he's trying. He's doing these moving shots. He's bringing his Scourge up, and I think SoulKey has just about nothing left, Tasteless. But so does herO.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess the Scourge are going to come out here. If that Scourge connects onto that muta, he actually sacks his own Scourge to hit that one. But I think that just barely herO holds us off. One Mutalist can't do enough damage in time. He's even going to micro this, try to send it into the extractor. Doesn't quite get it in there. But you've got to imagine there's more mutas hatching here. Oh, just one more.
Wow. Yeah, and some Scourge come out as well, so he will be able to clean that up. And SoulKey calls for GG. herO making it a little bit closer. I do want to mention that we had the reverse build order twice and SoulKey dominated. Here, when SoulKey was behind, he actually made it pretty close considering the situation.
Yeah, just barely enough there for herO to hold that off, and he started that comeback. He now has to win 2 more games to take this. SoulKey, you know, for the first time really electing for that quick pool into quick gas, into quick Zerglings, and then obviously quick Mutalisks after that. It has not been working today, though. No matter who comes out with it, it seems like the player that's a little bit ready to receive the attack and invest in tier 2 tech is the winner.
Yep. Defensive builds are pretty darn good against 9 pool, but SoulKey showing us some tactics, some ideas, some micro that can sometimes pull you through. This time, not enough for him. So he is going to have at least 2 more shots at taking home this ASL victory. Whereas herO, if he can win this next game, it'll bring us to a game 7, and he'll have the momentum. He'll have the tempo on his side.
I've got my fingers crossed for herO to take this. I would love to go to game 7. We rarely get a game 7, by the way, in ASL Finals. It's just statistically very hard to get that out there. I think herO did a good job. I don't think we're going to see SoulKey go with the quick pool again. Sometimes that can be map dependent. But, you know, so far it just seems like both of these guys are too strong at surviving mid-game attacks when the player's on one base.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think so much of it does come into your actual build order choice. How are they going to choose to approach this next game? It's do or die right now for herO.
I mean, this is gotta be scary, man. SoulKey knows he just needs to close this out. herO kind of almost meditative there. He's thinking, what does he need to do in this next game? I feel like when you're behind, by the way, in a series like this, you really got to take it one game at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be overwhelming when you're down that much. You're like, wait, how many of these do I have to win in a row? Oh my God. Anyways, guys, we're ready to get into this game as this finals continues on. herO trying to get that comeback and pull it off. SoulKey just wants one more win to close this out. Okay, SoulKey in the top right, herO in the bottom left. Once again, cross spawns. The map is Troy. I don't know if this, with ZVZ on this map, I just am not an expert at all. I don't know if this, is going to allow for a weird game or if it's going to look like every other ZVZ we've seen.
Yeah, well, I don't think that killing the geysers gives you any value. It takes too long. It's too much health. If you have that much damage output, you should probably just go and try to hurt your opponent. And also, like, if it's just muta versus muta, you know, first off, you'd have to kill both geysers because all the Zerg units fit through if one is killed, except for, like, ultras and lurkers. So that's, like, even more damage output. And then also mutas fly over everything. So I don't think Troy is going to give us anything special.
I think you're probably right, Artosis. So we've got both sides droning up. We don't see a pool yet. We don't see a hatch yet, but we're going to get to that in a second here. So far, it's been very traditional ZVZs. These are not games where we've had new ideas really expressed. That's not good or bad either. But, you know, you could have taken these ZVZs. These could have been from 15 years ago even.
Yeah, they definitely do look similar to that. Now, SoulKey actually gets the slightly better build here. It's going to be a 9 pool against an overpool from SoulKey. So not as big an advantage as we saw in some of the other games, but still slight advantage towards SoulKey.
Yeah, what this means is that you're going to have an extra drone. You're going to have one extra worker. You could even see it shown in the supplies right now. And that actually makes a fairly big difference in ZVZ. You know, fundamentally, this is a matchup where you can't just keep making a lot of workers. Because you have to decide, okay, every time you're making a drone, you're not making a Zergling. Every time you're not making a Zergling, you're not making a drone. So Zerg kind of function in that way. And because it's a ZVZ, that means, you know, a one drone advantage is huge. Or if 1 or 2 drones are picked off somewhere, it's huge.
And one drone, when you think about it, for big portions of Zerg versus Zerg, that can be 10% of your economy in that range, right?
Right.
So, like, really on one base, you'll never have more than 12 drones. It just will not occur. So it is statistically, like, absolutely gigantic. Now, both sides making out some Zerglings, and, you know, I think this is probably going to be our closest game yet. Because, again, even though SoulKey does maybe have a tiny advantage, it's definitely something that can be played around.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a clear, definitive, you know... It's very different from game 1 where it was hatch and main versus hatch at expansion. That's just so self-evident. You know, it's on its face. Who has the lead there? We're going to have... Oh, you know what? He is going to attack these geysers, but he's attacking his own geysers, which I find interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. In fact, his drone is going to go out and hide somewhere. So I think what he's planning here is to make himself 2 islands. I think he's going to make himself 2 islands and ignore Zerglings completely. And that actually, there's like a lot of sense to be had there. If you make it so Zerglings are worthless, you might just get a win off of that.
Oh my god, they're slowlings. So he's going to try to buy time. He's turning around, he's trying to attack this. But these links can get through. Oh my god, I like the idea, but this is the problem, is that the other guy could just make lings and come in there and attack you. There is some genius to it, though. If you could turn yourself into an island, now you don't have to worry about ling counterattacks. The dive on the Spire is going... Oh my god, it's going to work. He has to cancel it. That's huge.
This is terrible for SoulKey. It was a cool idea, but it takes so long to kill those assimilators. And herO with more lings here, getting massive damage, gets a drone. He doesn't need to finish that. He is so, like, he's in such a good position after this.
Yeah, I was wondering, I'm like, now does he want to go back and, like, kill that guy's, like, lock him in because he's got no lings on the map? I'm not so sure. That drone at 12 o'clock never turned into a hatchery. It's not too late to start, but he has to start the Spire again. Now, let's see, how far apart are the Spires here? Because the fact that was forced to be canceled is pretty big. This Spire's halfway done.
Yeah.
You know, I think that barely SoulKey can be okay, just barely.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's right on the edge where he doesn't need to think about spores or anything like that. Like, he should be fine, especially if he puts on any sort of aggression or pretends to put on aggression with his Zerglings. He might be able to keep mutas back for longer. He does still have that hidden Zergling, and look, he's working on that geyser. But can he kill off the 2 assimilators to make a secondary island? I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Weird game here. Again, we've just seen this drone out here for so long. You know, had he not been hit so hard and this was a quieter opening here from herO, it could have been a different story. Look, I think SoulKey can still win this game. I think herO's in a much stronger position, but I think that this is not the end of the world. And again, when you hide a base in ZVZ, this is one of the matchups where it's pretty hard to get information. Yes, you can send a Zergling out to check on stuff, but you don't get that many. And sometimes you can lose a game because you're just a few Zerglings short on something.
For sure.
He's going to start this hatchery now here at 12. And it's going to be up to herO to have a very thorough mid-game where he's checking for everything to identify that this is happening. Because if he has a bad read and just assumes, he's on 2 bases to his opponent's 1, he may end up playing into a game where SoulKey has bought himself enough time he can recover.
Yeah, this is going to have to go unscouted for multiple minutes, I think, for SoulKey to really have a good chance at this game. Because if herO figures out exactly what's going on, he should be able to execute him just by sending some lings up to 12 o'clock. Like, there's just... SoulKey has, like, 3 lings on the map or something like that. And you know when 12 finishes, he can only make drones out of that because he's got to catch up economically. So yeah, I'm not liking SoulKey's chances this game.
He's in a tough spot. We've got Mutas coming out. It's possible SoulKey banked enough gas. He might have had an instant upgrade at the Spire. Just because, you know, that Spire... Remember, guys, SoulKey's Spire was supposed to finish before herO's, but with the Ling surround on the Spire, he completely reversed the situation. So this Ling sees that hatchery, and now it's just an uncomfortable game. Now, he could use his Mutalisk to try to kill that Geysers there and try to isolate that. In fact, I think that might be what he's doing now.
Yeah, if SoulKey can isolate it, like, that could be something. But I feel like here, since you know that you have the quicker second gas and the slightly quicker Spire for herO, if he makes, like, 1 to 2 extra mutas and then just sends Mutaling at 12 o'clock, I can't see it being held. I can't see it.
herO's just roaming right now. He's staying outside the base. He may actually have more Mutalisks. Looks like he's up to 7. What is that like? It looks like it's 4 right now for SoulKey. It doesn't seem like it's that much. No. It's hard to tell when they're stacked like this.
Well, he's making some lings or some Scourge to try to make up for it. We'll see if that works out for him. Yeah, I think he has 4 or 5. It doesn't look good for him. herO seems to know that as well. He's mostly fighting his ground here, a little bit of micro. Yeah, it's 5 to 7 right now, I think. But there are some more popping out. Let's see if SoulKey can hold. Like, he's barely kept the hatch alive. Don't know how much longer that lasts.
Oh. Yeah, I think he's going to start to pelt the hatchery. This may force SoulKey to come in here and take a fight. The Scourge are going to come in here from behind. He's so low. I think herO's won this game. We're going to go to Game 7, Tastosis.
Well, now that's like a pleasant surprise, isn't it? GG. herO on quite the winning streak right now. And we are going to go to that Game 7, which is very, very rare in any finals.
What a treat. You know, it's been some short ZVZs. I kind of wish that we got to see SoulKey's plan work out. I want to see what an islanded Zerg would look like versus a Zerg that has the whole map. It's a interesting thing because I feel like in every other matchup, you want to make your opponent on the island. Only in ZVZ would that make sense to actually isolate yourself.
Yeah.
So that you could only devote yourself to Mutalisk tech. Unfortunately, a very straightforward approach from herO. Control the map denies the destruction of those assimilators, and you know, from there SoulKey's plans were foiled, and herO just played an overall all-around good game.
Yeah, very well done there by herO, scouting that 12 o'clock, sealing the deal as well, just finding SoulKey trying to take out those assimilators. I love the idea, but I guess SoulKey a little bit too big-brained there on Troy. Maybe he should have done something more basic.
Yeah, a scary moment here for SoulKey. He was so close to ending this and making this, you know, maybe the shortest ASL Finals ever. But herO has steadily come back. He's made the right adjustments in his play. The question is, can he do it one more time?
Yeah. I don't know what this is going to look like, right? Because we're definitely going to go to a commercial break and tied up 3-3. Who's going to have that clutch instinct to finish off their opponents? I think it's actually going to be Blitz Y for our last map, is it not? So a 2-player map to finish?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Be some deceptive stuff. It looks like the audience is going to be going using their restroom break. I would recommend you do the same. We're going to take a quick commercial. When we come back, we will conclude Season 17 of the ASL Finals.
불 좀 켜줄래? 내 의자 좀 보게. 오늘 내 기분 컬러로 말할게. 이 의자, 내 아름다움이 다 담아질까? 하루만 네 의자에 메쉬가 되고 싶어. 알고 싶어. 너의 특별 할인값. 만들어봐. 네 의자에 꿀자세.
To life, from ash to fire, the spark ignites the dark inside us. Shadows calling. Shadows calling me. I know, falling shadows following. This is the darkness inside. This is the darkness inside. Dead of night, a dream devoured. We walk the line of lust and power. Shadows calling. This is the darkness inside.
Someone's going to win it. Which player is it going to be? This is the final game between SoulKey versus herO. And I got to say, herO has made an impressive comeback. I was pretty confident that SoulKey was just going to move on 4-1, but herO was really patient. He did make some adjustments into his gameplay. And we have ourselves a Game 7 in ASL. We don't oftentimes get this deep in a finals.
Well, it is pretty damn hype at this point. Game number 7, everything on the line. It's a 2-player map, and we already talked about how 2-player maps can kind of give us more interesting strategies in Zerg vs. Zerg. I don't know what to think. I don't know how these guys choose their build orders here. Like, how do you do that? I feel like I would roll a die at this point or flip a coin. I'm like, what am I 9 pulling? Are we 9 pulling for the ASL Finals? I don't know.
You got to get your ZVZ build order magic 8-ball out and just shake it and tell you what to do. I mean, it's a scary moment here for SoulKey. Remember, guys, if SoulKey wins, it's his 2nd ASL in a row, which is insane. Within the span of a year, there are 2 ASLs. So that would mean that SoulKey has been the best player for a full year. This almost never happens. I think only Queen's done it in Flash.
That's right. That's right.
Am I
Those
correct
are the
on that,
only players.
Tastosis? Yeah.
You are correct. The only other player with 2 victories, or what are considered victories, would be Effort, but his are stretched really far apart.
Right. Yeah, not back-to-back. Mini got close, but didn't do it either.
Yep.
But it's going to be big. And if not, you know, it's going to be herO's moment to finally take this ASL.
Either way, it's a great storyline, Tasteless. Game number 7 on Blitz Y. We are ready to go.
Let's get into this, guys. The final game is happening right now. It's either going to be herO or SoulKey to decide who is the best StarCraft player in the world right now. Let's go. Okay, SoulKey in the top, herO in the bottom. We're going to do our final plug, guys, for the Patreon. Again, if you want to support us, please consider signing up for the Patreon. We love you guys. You're the best. It's been a hell of a journey, man. This is now the 17th season of ASL. Obviously, Season 18 has been confirmed as well. We wouldn't be able to do it without your support, so we really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, and you know, StarCraft is doing so well recently. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure that they're going to just keep going for years and years and years in ASL. Hopefully, it never ends. So thank you guys for that support. Again, it's patreon.com/ASL English.
By the way, interesting thing I just learned today, they released the top games on every stream platform.
Yep.
On Africa TV, StarCraft Brood War is #1.
Damn.
It is the most watched game. And just so you guys know, Africa TV is the biggest streaming platform in Korea. So, like, that's massive. It has the most eyeballs still. The game that is over 25 years old now.
Dude, what a great comeback story. You know, when League of Legends stole the top spot from StarCraft 2, we thought it was all over. Until the grandfather of them all came back and dominated. StarCraft 1 doing really well.
It's funny because I can feel it too when I'm in Seoul. I can look over on people's phones and see them watching StarCraft, and I always wonder, do I notice that more just because that's what I'm also interested in, and do I just dismiss it when I see League because that's not my jam? But yeah, I mean, it's massive. And by the way, it's in part due to ASL. The fact that there's this big tournament that all these players can coalesce around and viewers can follow. I mean, ASL gets incredibly good viewership here in Korea. And honestly, we get great viewership for the English VODs as well. So it's a cool time to be a fan of StarCraft.
Well, looking into this game now, herO did go with a pool first, but not a super hyper-aggressive one. And then... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was, like, looking at this upside down. herO actually here, yeah, he does have that faster pool, but SoulKey has taken the faster hatchery, both them going for the hatcheries. And, man, I tell you, this looks slightly better for SoulKey, in my opinion.
Look at that idle drone. I'm losing my mind. Okay, he put it back in there. Dude, that was a little bit scary.
The way they're flipping the hatcheries back and forth is melting my brain right now. But he does get that in mining. And in fact, herO has already pulled one drone off of his gas. Right now, tied up in supply, the Lings are coming across the map. SoulKey has seen them, so he knows that he's got to defend.
Yeah, we've got these Lings headed northbound now, here to try to put some pressure onto the hatchery. I don't see any Lings out yet, but I have to imagine they're inside those eggs about to hatch out here. He is going to target down this one egg. Luckily, the rest of these lings are going to come down here and push him away. That's actually a really good move. If you can just surround an egg and start to damage it, a lot of times it'll just kill what pops out. If there's enough damage happening, sometimes the thing just like disappears.
Now, some drones coming down from herO to that natural expansion. He doesn't have that many lings across the map. Like, he feigned some aggression there with those first 4 Zerglings, but SoulKey he's being serious about that production. Now we have a Sunken getting prepared on herO's side of the map.
Okay, so these lings are going to come back around here and try to block this off. I don't think herO can get that much done. SoulKey's also decided to kind of dip back into the more conservative play. And just kind of hack into that spire and set that up. We did see a forced creep colony here, by the way, for herO. Now, if you can avoid making a creep colony altogether, it's worthwhile, but the fact that it doesn't seem like SoulKey is going to do a ling flood means that's one drone that's not mining.
That's true, but let's not forget that herO only made 4 lings, yet got the speed upgrade. So he looked like he was going to be aggressive, and we actually have SoulKey, who's made a ton of lings, but not doing anything, because he's playing against someone that has that speed upgrade and who has a Sunken already. But now SoulKey's starting to pour on some more Zerglings. He's coming down across towards herO. herO gonna retreat.
The question is herO being too greedy? Does not have a lot of lings. He does have that Sunken colony. The Spire is close to finishing, but I see more and more lings coming down now. And he's going to have to make sure he keeps the ramp covered, also protects the Sunken colony. You want the Sunk to tank some of the damage, but not all of it, so that your lings can do damage on the other side of that. And I think those lings are going to come in now. Yeah, he's continuing to make lings. I see 4 more that have hatched that are heading, trickling down from the top of the map towards herO now.
This is crazy, man. A mass ling flood going to decide who wins this season of ASL, one of the most stacked yet. Evolution Chamber going off in front of that Sunken colony. What a hard position to attack into. herO's defense looking really good.
I mean, it's actually such a good setup because just part of the Sunken colony is exposed. Cancels. Was this a mistake? Dips in. He pulls right back out. herO survives. Is herO going to take this? Mutas are being made right now. A fight over here on the ramp. herO might want to think twice about this.
That definitely went better for SoulKey. herO a little bit sloppy trying to attack up this ramp at the moment. He still has that Sunken, so it's not like he's in a huge amount of trouble or anything. And now Muta's coming out from both sides. Looks like SoulKey is going to hunt Overlords first.
Yeah, he's going to try to kill this one Overlord off. That will supply block herO. He gets that kill, he's going to zip right back. He knows he has to come back here and try to protect this. It's funny, it was a very interesting back and forth. Ultimately, both players seem to be in a fairly okay position. I do think herO bled off quite a bit of Zerglings. You could see from that attack that happened earlier at that big ramp, from the low ground to the high ground, that some of herO's Zerglings were bouncing off of the attack and going into other places. So SoulKey was able to kind of optimize the damage. Now SoulKey's out. He's got Mutas, he's got Scourge. He knows he killed that Overlord. I thought it was going to supply block herO. It actually didn't. He still had a little bit of room. Continue to make Scourge and Mutas and then get another Overlord. So we're going to have to find out if SoulKey is going to overextend here or not.
Well, right now SoulKey does have a significant amount more supply, right? I think some of that is definitely in those Zerglings. The Zerglings, in fact, trying to run past a little bit. Gets another Overlord kill. In fact, might get a third.
He decides to back up. These lings are going to wrap around here, by the way. I'm kind of surprised he didn't go for that other Overlord, because if you can kill off those 2 Overlords, the window of time that you have to make Mutas and Scourge, and they don't, might just be enough to end the game.
Oh, man. He gets a
no
drone kill
yet,
there
by the way.
as well, Tasteless. Like, this is looking real good for SoulKey. He goes back after these hurt Overlords in the corner. Gets one of them. herO can't engage. herO's down 8 supply, and both of them are blocked.
Right. You know there's an Overlord about to hatch here for SoulKey. He's also not able to do that much with his lings. It does feel like the noose is tightening here for herO. SoulKey may be closing in, about to end this game. He's going to pick the fight now. He's baiting him out.
SoulKey has so many Scourge. He brings down a 12th Mutalisk here as well. He's Scourge dancing everywhere. Oh my god, is SoulKey about to win his next championship? I think he might be getting in on top of herO's Mutas. Those Scourge are connecting. SoulKey with 8 remaining against 5. This should be it.
I think this is the end of the game. The Scourge are going to come in and connect on their targets. The last Muta falls, and that means herO is going to have to tap out. GG. SoulKey has won his second ASL in a row.
Absolute madness. herO trying to stay in this game. You know, he's losing everything. I think he's just letting it sink in. GG is called, and there you have it. This is our third player to be able to win 2 or more ASLs in a row. SoulKey, I mean, just making himself into more of a legend than he already was.
Yeah, that was wild, man. I can't believe he did it. Now the question is, can he do it for a third time? Undisputed best player for a whole year of ASL. It is such a competitive tournament. It's so hard to ever do this. Even to just win one ASL, a lot of players will just take, you know, a whole bunch of time off because they've finally achieved their dreams. The fact that he did it twice now and back to back, and he did it in the matchup that we knew him to kind of be his weak point. He was so good at ZVT, he was so good at ZVP. Well, now he's becoming a champion in a ZVZ versus herO, who I think is easily the other best ZVZ player that we've got.
And there you have it. SoulKey, our champion. And I mean, it's just so astounding to see what this guy has achieved.
ASL Season 17.
ASL Season 17. Following last season, a back-to-back championship. Here's your Zerg, SoulKey. In a moment of crisis, once again, bold, unwavering, the heart of a wild beast. You got off to a great start with a 12 hatch in the last game. You beat your opponent and became the champion. You've overcome this hardship with 3 wins in a row. You brought the score to a 3-1, but even being ahead, it's in the toughest moments you demonstrate your great strength as the storyline develops with this victory. You have won. Let's hear how it feels. I was more anxious today than I thought I would be. Having been to the finals a few times, today was when I felt anxious for the first time. As we got into the season, I did not think I would be winning. But having done so makes me ever so happy. Next season, now that I've won twice in a row, I've got greedy. I want to try for 3 in a row. There have been so many electrifying moments. You've overcome adversities. And this time as well, there are so many great games in the storyline that unfolds for you. Last season and this season you've advanced with reverse sweeps. And this round of 4 as well, it wasn't a full sweep, but it was neck and neck still. And today similarly, it was not lopsided. He was catching up, but you caught a second wind and pushed on through to win. Being the amazing player you are, do you have some driving force behind this development of yours? Not sure. It's just I engage with the mindset that a loss is just a loss. And so I've been very daring in my choice of builds. So being daring seems to have worked. Above all, looking at the cheerfuls for SoulKey the Wall, and even your family coming to cheer for you. The support has been full of passion. Also the thankfulness for this finals being a full set series with cool games. They've given you strength, not just your colleagues, your fans and your family too. Do you have any words for them? Thank you for this level of support. I'm very thankful to my parents as well for always cheering me on. Looks like she came on her own, but a friend from the Bangchi club. Thank you. Also, I've never given them a mention, but they always hit me up with words of encouragement. The old Raker club members. So these friends from Raker. I've never really thanked them or mentioned it, but I'm always thankful. Also, Sangho, watching at home. And for practicing with me, Queen, Action, GameO,
명훈 형이 거의 빌드를 좀 많이
and Saxry. Thank you guys. Queen helped me a lot with the builds. It seems to be thanks to him that I managed to win, and
좋네요.
네. 그리고 진짜
I'm in a good mood.
다음 시즌에도 김민재 선수 이런 멋진 경기.
And so, not just this season, but also in the next one, people are hoping to see good games from you. Let's hear your resolutions for the next season.
이게 만족을 하는 게 아니라
I've won twice in a row,
하고 싶다는
but rather than
욕심이 생겼어요.
satisfaction,
다음 시즌도 기대해 주셔도
I have this
좋을 것 같아요.
desire to do even more.
그리고 현장에 찾아주신 팬분들에게
It'll be nice if
감사
people
인사.
look forward to the next season.
주말인데
And to the fans who showed up to the studio,
와주셔서 너무 감사드리고 항상 좋은 경기
it's the weekend here, so thank you for coming to support me despite your busy schedules. I will pay you back with good matches. Thank you.
이제 시상식이 진행할 예정이니까
Got it.
잠시
Once again, congratulations, SoulKey. We will now proceed with the awards ceremony, so please take your seat for a minute.
좀 많이 나왔습니다. 많은 분들께서 이 현장을 좀 찾아주시고
We had a ton of great matches this season.
항상 이렇게 취업풀을 통해서 선수들에게
All the fans who come to the studio, who lend their strength to the players, who support them with their cheerfuls. Your support is greatly appreciated.
항상 이 자리에 지켜주신 여러분들에게
And so we'd like to extend our thanks not just to the players who give their best, but all of you who always stick with us.
우승 시상이 있겠습니다.
Let's now go to the awards ceremony, with awards going to the runner-up and the champion. Let's welcome the runner-up of ASL Season 17 with Well New Life Ultimate Custom Prestige Gaming Chairs,
이 대회 선수들이 힘을 낼 수 있도록 많은 도움을
and for making the ASL possible, for making it possible for the players to showcase their skills in this tournament.
대표이사님을 뜨거운 박수를 모시겠습니다.
Please welcome to the stage the CEO of Soup, Mr. Jung Chan-young.
대표님, 정말 멋진 승부가 이번 결승 무대에서 좀 나왔고 또 꽉
We had an amazing victory unfold here in the Grand Final, a 7-game series that went the distance, with a 2-time back-to-back champion emerging at the end, also breaking the finals jinx. You were here with us for it? Let's hear your thoughts.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
I
for
found the
joining
finals
us for
very
this
entertaining, and this
season of the
17th season
ASL.
it seems we had tremendously entertaining games all throughout,
This has just
starting
been
with the
an
qualifiers
incredible
too.
story.
Thank you to the fans who showed up to the studio today, all the streamers here as well,
Jump out of here. This is,
and those streaming on the platform now.
SoulKey is your champion. Please enjoy.
We are going to come back for the next season
And we will see you guys.
with a new name, it seems.
Bye-bye.
We look forward to welcoming you again. Thank you. Thank you.
전국의 커스텀 웰뉴라이프 프레스티지 의자와 함께한 ASL
ASL Season 17 brought to you by Well New Life Ultimate Custom Prestige Gaming Chairs,
마지막까지 물고
and your
나온
runner-up,
주인공 herO
fighting for victory tooth and nail to the very end. It's herO.
끝까지 최선을 다해주고 명승부를 만들어준 조일장 선수가
Fighting to the last with great games all around, herO is your runner-up this season,
1,000만 원과 차기 시즌 2
with 10 million won going his way, as well as a second place seed into the next season. Please put your hands together for herO one more time. And also a round of applause for the CEO of Soup for his support over the years.
이어서 우승 시상을 진행하도록 하겠습니다.
And now the championship award ceremony.
Season 17.
ASL 17 done in partnership with Well New Life Ultimate Custom Prestige Gaming Chairs. We did it with truly custom chairs this time, and all the countless custom builds that came with them that captivated the fans. Let's now welcome the director of IBR Commerce, Choi Jong-hun, to the stage.
대망의 우승자 시상식을 진행하도록 하겠습니다.
And now, the long-awaited champion ceremony. ASL 17 done in partnership with Well New Life Ultimate Custom Prestige Gaming Chairs. A player who finally managed to break the ASL jinx. From SoulKey the Wall to perfection. It's Korean wordplay. The best player. Let's get him up here. The greatest Zerg. 2-time back-to-back winner. SoulKey. setting a tremendous milestone
이번 시즌 역습의 주인공
with back-to-back championship runs. Last season, this season, the king of reverse sweeps, with a fight to the very end, taking the last map and becoming the champion. SoulKey, as the champion, gets 30 million won, as well as the trophy and the first place seed into the next season. And also to the director of IBA Commerce for helping us run this amazing tournament. Please give a big round of applause. And now for final words of thanks. This now concludes the season of games. The players gave their best this season, put on great games, and we can feel it's thanks to the love you guys show. You always show up, you give us all your strength, and give a lot of courage to the players. We wanted to express our thanks for you being the driving force that lets the players show what they show. We will continue to do our best, and huge thanks to the production and management teams that made this possible, and to the team at Well New Life Prestige Gaming Chairs, as many have enjoyed this season as we enjoyed the chairs. We will be back for another season. And you guys, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for being here with us.
Maybe in dreams, that's imaginary. You got a reason to work, I got a reason to stop. I could break for like 3 years and still I would be at the top. Ain't no one taking my spot. Yeah, you chasing fame, I'm building legacy, born in the fire. Don't need a pedigree, you a shadow like a silhouette. I'm the narrative that won't forget. Wannabes wanna be the best. When I check the record, man, I ain't impressed. Wannabes wanna imitate. Wannabes never innovate. Legends really stand tall. Wannabes I eliminate. You see the greatness, you couldn't make this. Legends are born, I've been through the storm and I couldn't fake this. You see the greatness, you couldn't make this. Legends are born, I've been through the storm and I couldn't fake this. Yeah, I know I'm the one. 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 Everybody wanna be great till they realize what it really takes. See, I came and I conquered the hate, conquered the rain, conquered the pain. I beat every single lot that